strong, the darkness it tried to swallow me. Some things I fall, but I hear your call. I pray I don't hit the ground. Gravity. Gravity.
Yep, I can ramble a little bit more.
All right, there we go.
Sweet.
Holy.
Exciting stuff. Could be watching the Double If Unk tournament instead. Midwest Herald League playoffs. This is exactly where you want to be.
There we go. There we go. Should have everything set up now.
Nice.
Right away, an Ezreal ban comes out for minus. Makes sense.
Yeah. Mind sliding me the draft link as well.
Yeah.
And I'll stop with all the bugging. And the Corky ban.
Oh, okay. I think they've figured out who Lux plays through.
Still gonna first pick Jinx.
Yeah, I've never liked this. I think it's way, way too easy to counter.
Yeah, what do you want to kind of see income for counter pick wise? Something like, I don't know, Vi, Nautilus, just heavy dive.
I mean, I think right away they can just pick ADC, and I don't know if Minus plays Caitlyn, but Caitlyn just completely smashes that lane. Like, so easily. But they want to lock up the Pantheon.
Yeah, that's fair.
I assume we'll see ADC here, but
I would think so too. You see 3 bans coming through on blue side and even 2 bans on the red side. Take the power pick Caitlyn. I feel like Caitlyn is really strong right now too. If you get to
and especially in this
4 or
league
5
too.
items, it's unmatched. Think that could be Melbot?
It's possible. These may just be prior picks that they want to take out of the pool right away because they know they can get AD on R3 no matter what. Just seeing what they want in their next 2 picks before they pick an AD.
Yeah.
Worms does like
That's
the
fair.
Malzahar pick, and then you can sort of form what you want on ADC around that.
Agreed. And you pick a Jinx that early, you gotta think they're looking for just to protect the president. Jinx comp. Malzahar's in Zao. I mean, that's gonna be a solid mid-jungle 2v2. And, you know, it still feels like to me, okay, we're playing through this Jinx and we're trusting her to take us over the edge. Zyra on R3. So kind of Interesting first 3 picks out of Lux here. I'm not too familiar with the team myself, but just going based off the picks, that is a very flexible first round of draft. I think, you know, any of those champions can slot into 2 different roles relatively. Wouldn't be surprised to see like a Zyra jungle. Could even put the Zyra support. All gonna be, I feel like, pretty solid picks. Just early mid game, and then maybe falling off a little bit later when you look at something like the Jinx. But either way, I think Lux is setting themselves up with some nice flexibility early on in the draft to try to answer, you know, what is a very clear 3 position from Worms.
Caitlyn ban comes out. I guess they heard me.
Yeah, I think makes sense, you know. You already have 3 ADC bans. Might as well go for the 4th. Just give yourself an easier time to play around this Jinx with. I do expect Lux to take, well, potentially bot lane on 4, depending on where things really are shaping out. Okay, so it is going to be Ashe.
That's what
And I
was
think that-
about to say. Is like
Yeah, that
Ashe
should answer a
is
little
probably the best pick here.
So then gotta think, what, Ashe, Zyra bot, and then Mel mid, Panth jungle.
I'm
Maybe
not
the traditional
sure.
spread. We'll see. I'm a fan of
Is
Ashe Zyra. I feel
Druzy-
like
I feel like Minus just wants an engage support, but could also just be sitting as a flex right now, the Zyra.
yeah, I wouldn't be a fan of that AP mid jungle of Mel Zyra, which is why I'm kind of thinking, okay, maybe you flex that Zyra into support. All will be revealed here on R5 though. This is Ornn Melio rounding out a very solid front to back comp for Worms in this game 1.
Pretty standard Jinx comp.
Just let 7 glide, do his thing.
There's the Singed, so I believe then it is either Zyra or Mel support. We'll see in a second. Is there something we can do that was supposed to be a Jinx
Wait a
ban,
second.
but Druzy is stupid? It's not up to me.
Here we are talking about everything with the Jinx.
Okay.
Is that Jinx
Ashe,
a Jinx?
Zyra bot. Singed Panth, Mel, Ashe, Zyra. What was that?
Is that Jinx a Jinx pick?
No. Lux wanted to ban Jinx, but it came out as Jhin, I believe, is what happened.
Oh,
But I think they're just going forward with it.
okay. Fair enough. Game 1, I just wanted to make sure I didn't lean too heavily into talking all this traditional protect the Jinx comp and then making sure it's Jinx actually picked there. Sounds like it, and then yeah, as you mentioned, the lane assignments for Lux pretty, I guess, expected. I'm a little worried about the magic damage spread that they do have for themselves between a Singed, Zyra, and a Mel. I mean, massive Merc Treads value this game.
Yeah, I can only hope I see Merc Treads out of 7. But I don't know. I don't know how willing the ADCs in this league are to sort of drop their Berserker's Greaves.
Yeah, you want to see it on the Jinx, really?
Oh yeah. Yeah, as an AD player, you can pretty easily now drop Berserker's Greaves.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't disagree. I feel like it's a good item, specifically in this scenario. I mean,
those Omni boots like almost every game not too long ago.
I think those boots are nice. I feel like they're gonna be something that is like actually hits mainstream meta in another patch or two, and people are gonna be like, why isn't everybody going this earlier? Because those, I mean, the value you get just with that survivability, that lifesteal, is so nice, and it's easy to get the kills to get the stacks for it. That's not an issue at all. Oh, look at summoners. Cleanse for the Jinx. I do like that pick. You're gonna have Emilio over top as well, just to help keep you alive. It really feels like Lux are rocking a bit of a pick comp in this game one, and playing a pick comp into, you really only have one target in this Jinx. Malzahar is gonna have the spell shield. Seven now has this cleanse, and Calico gonna have that Melio Breath of Life ultimate as well. That should be able to keep the Jinx alive. Because I think it's gonna be a very straightforward game plan for both teams. One side wants to keep the Jinx alive, play for that reset, and the other side, you killed the Jinx, should be able to win the fight. Granted, that will all be later on. It's in the early game here. I do like Lux's draft. I feel like Ashe Zyra is a pretty solid lane. Should be able to get some prio. The Singed. Have you seen Baikel play this before?
He's played one game on it, and
Okay.
I can't remember exactly how it went, but I know Minus went like 18-2 or something that game. Or if it wasn't 18-2, then it was some other ridiculous KDA. But yeah, I agree. I think Lux got exactly what they wanted out of the draft, which was a winning bot lane. And it's gonna be up to Worms to get this Jinx through lane to the point where she's not significantly weaker than Minus. And
Agreed.
being able to protect her late. Oh. Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty risky. You really are just investing everything into the Jinx pick against this team that heavily plays around their bot side.
Yeah, I mean, you can already see it, right? They're getting the push. This is, I think, to your point, you were talking about that blind Jinx pick. It's quite counterable. I know you have this picture of how you want to draft and what you're looking for, but in this case, we'll see if the gambit pays off. If they can keep it stable. I know Seven and Calico are going to be pretty reliable in the late game, but it is just a matter of getting there, and even across the map too. Can Cold kind of stay in the game, be this beefy frontliner? Marsillaments, I think the mid jungle 2v2 can have a chance to be pretty explosive. Both junglers are full clearing down, so expect to see some action in the bottom lane in just a minute here. Because that mid jungle 2v2 should be pretty interesting. It's always fun to see a Pantheon that Xin Zhao, just because both of these skirmishing junglers, they can really scrap and have relatively even clears to get to that point too. Some aggressive trading in top side as well, but I think this Orin is right where he wants to be in that lane state. Scuttle spawn is up. It looks like Pantheon is going to be first to it. Soul's going for the full clear on the Krugs.
Looks like Souls knows that he's just going top side for that other scuttle.
Yeah. I like that call. We see the Lux bottom lane moving up, playing to cover B-Viz just a little bit there. And a heads up play from Soul. Hey, don't have Cryo bottom lane. You just take the scuttle trade, stay in it. But Pantheon approaching mid lane here.
Soul's here to cover. With that jungle cover and the prio bot side from Minus and Druzy, they have set up some solid vision so that they don't have to worry too much about Soul's coming back down here and ganking.
Yeah, I see the ward in the tri-bush, the scuttle. And that's exactly what you want for your winning bot lane. Just continue to try to approach 2 coins and Druzy. It's building up a little bit of CS lead. I think the big story is the solo lanes, at least early on here. We have a 10 CS lead for Wisconsin, and Michael finds himself down almost a whole wave, almost 2 waves, in what was an R5 counter pick. Not really what you want to see out of your Singed. I mean, I don't think that's a super favorable matchup for you, but I feel like that is a matchup you should be able to keep stable. It's going to be, you know, as much as we talk about the Jinx comp, if you can get your Ornn accelerated, you know, get some early MR, all of a sudden you're going to have a pretty tanky front line between him and the Zinzal Crescent Guard ultimate. You can buy space for those resets to happen. Marth and Souls roaming down in the bot lane, but sniffed out a bit by 2 points of Druzy, who are going to play back, but this 4-man squad is sitting around in the area. See if they continue to look for it, as Camera Pan's top lane, but they're going to call it off. Dragons started up. First dragon of the game, 6 minutes in. Pantheon is approaching, and it looks like Lux wants to contest.
Is really low in this Dragon Pit, has a reset. Can't quite approach, as Wisconsin and Minus are still really healthy. Souls tries to go in, set up at least 1 more kill for 7, but he can't quite do it. That's a dragon for Lux. Along with
Great
2
play out of
kills.
Lux. I mean, you get the dragon, I think most importantly, when we look at this game, it's probably going late, so that gives you a good chance early on. And it looked like Worms had the better setup there, but Pantheon ult, or sorry, excuse me, Malzahar ult comes in and they don't kill the Pantheon too quickly. And from there, Minus is hitting, Druzy is hitting, the rest of Lux just walk on in, and you know, maybe it's a little bit of help from the dragon, but you don't get that Jinx reset. And you see it right there, if the Jinx doesn't go off, this Worms comp really struggling, especially early on. There's not going to be much damage coming through from Malzahar and Zinzal, and so just using the strengths of those early game champions to get away with a dragon and 2 kills, despite the fact that they weren't first to that objective.
It's really about what do you need to give up in this early game to allow your Jinx the space to scale up. Like, you can't take these early fights, especially when you have a mid like Malzahar, who kind of also isn't really too comfortable fighting early. A nice little trade onto 7 here.
Yeah, and still, you know, no cleanse and flash from that earlier dragon fight. If I'm Ashe and Zyra, I'm really looking to punish it. Calico roamed up for a topside grubs play, so those are going to be secured, but we'll see if, you know, Lux can continue to
And
snowball
they're
through
looking
bot
for
lane
this
as
dive.
they do
The
so.
root lands, and that's just an easy kill. The response, or there was no response. It was 7 just had to back up and give with him being so low from the earlier trade.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, you know, you don't have your Melio there, right? Calico decided to roam up to secure those extra grubs, make sure all 3 go over to the way of the Worms, but 7 takes that tough trade earlier on, and then, like you said, great root from Zyra there, and with no sums on the Jinx, another kill for the bottom lane of Lux.
And I think the most devastating part about that for Wormies is that you look over and Ashe still has both sunk. So the dominance is just going to continue.
I mean, you gotta find a play somehow, but Action breaking out onto Souls here. Pick
we
up
go.
that nice little kill.
I was trying to
Souls
zoom
set
out,
up
no, it
for.
wasn't working.
Yeah, it's a funky, like, you gotta hit 3 buttons at once or something. But we were plenty zoomed in enough to see Souls getting picked off in his own jungle there. Lux just kind of navigating that bot side of the map well, as they do. You can see, just taking a look at that vision toggle on the red side, you see those 2 deep wards. Souls is going to be spotted again as he crosses over to Krugs. You know, classic Lux game, right? You get this bot prio and you use it to push through leads through the rest of the map, and this time Wisconsin is going to be the benefactor of that one. So now you have a 2-0 Mel, 2-0 Zyra, and that's a lot of AP burst damage coming out in the early stages of this game.
Another trade happening in the bot side. Snare lands onto Druzy. He has to flash out, use heal. Souls is there, but they won't get the kill. You know, what I was going to say is that the Worms have Melio as their support, and this oh wow, okay, cleanse is used. Mine is taking a little damage back, but he's very happy for that, to have that cleanse out. Get a nice little chunk on the 7th. But as I was saying, Melio can't really move very easily to help anywhere, so it's up to, you know, Druzy to go make those plays around the map with the jungle. And although Melio can do something about it, it's not as much as like an engaged support would have been able to. He's sort of stuck with this Jinx, sort of protecting 7. Another Drake started up for Lux. This one looks to be free.
With the bot lane prio, great arrow from -2 coins. Just no hesitation there, pulling the trigger onto 7, who has to use the cleanse. And now, you know, not going to pull the reset right now, but you continue to keep this pressure up. You don't quite have your full first item completed, but that's
Flash ult comes out from Malzahar. Souls will go in as well, and that is, your Mal got one shot.
Yeah, well played from the mid jungle of Worms there. You know, recognizing, hey, we have a window. Mel is flashless. Just a classic Malzahar combo there. Flash ulti, and Souls in the area with a flash W of his own to follow up. And they may be looking on the Baikel here.
Baikel just using his ghost to get out. But yeah, when you get behind in these games, you can't become blind to the windows you do have, so you just need to be quick on those, and that's exactly what they did. They knew they had Malzahar ult to just lock somebody down for free, and that happened to be his lane opponent. It looks like Baikel's going to die here. Uses flash. Oh, the ram hits, but doesn't deal enough damage.
I mean, that is still huge for Cold-a-Meek. You're already up, you know, 30 CS. That's kind of offsetting.
Is there. Flashes to get the kill. Just a bit of an overstay from Cold-a-Meek. He, oh wow. Beavis still had ult to use there, but opted to use flash.
Yeah, I mean, Cold-a-Meek still had his flash. And right as I was blazing the top laner. Bit of an overextension there, but still doing well for themselves. Don't have this.
Minus finds himself overextended with Marth here and Souls. They did not expect the 4v2. Druzy will also just die. That's a kill going down to... Oh, both kills, right? Both kills went to the Jinx.
Massive for the Jinx there. Worms are back.
Being shut down.
That's 2 kills on your Jinx.
Nice little bit of hopium injected right there.
Straight into the main. I can feel it. I mean, you get some plates as well here. Michael had some free time at the top lane.
There's
as well,
the
but he
ult
does
that we were
Panthol.
talking about earlier, but oh wow. Okay, good response. Traps right on top of him.
Yeah, they do have to burn double flash though. I want to bring that up. Is
Oh,
Drake
that I
spawning in
didn't
a
see.
little over 2 minutes, and that's going to be 2 crucial cooldowns missing from the bottom lane of Worms, and what I assume is going to be something Lux want to contest and play around.
Minus is gonna grab this tower though. Now 7 and Calico are mid.
Yeah, I still like this game state for the side of Lux. I mean, Ashe is still going to be pretty strong, and I feel like your mid-game kind of spike in this 15-minute marker as everyone crests over to an item and a half. At this point, on paper, I like it over Worms. You know, you can look for these pick angles. When you have flashless, immobile bot lane, in Emilio and the Jinx, so those are going to be windows to potentially punish. The Malzahar flash is still down from that earlier pick, so that lets you play a little easier, but Minus caught out a bit.
Minus's flash is burned. Druzy's heal is burned. That feels good. And they're gonna position for Herald right now. But we see in the top side a fight is happening. Not much damage going on, but sort of Michael just slowly burning down Meek.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's what this matchup is going to look like. You know, maybe this Ornn gets a little bit low, but should always be able to sit relatively comfortably. Are you able to bring up objective timers? I feel like this dragon.
Oh, yep, I forgot about that.
Shortly.
Oh,
So it's still fighting in the top lane
this
right
could go
now.
either way. Ram hits a flash for a kill. Meanwhile, in mid, the Rift Herald hits mid tower. Beavis is looking for a pick. 7's gonna die. Souls now has to flash. Calico burns the ult. They aren't gonna find any more kills here.
Still, I mean, no Jinx, and this dragon is up, so unless Marth has something to say about it, or maybe Cole the Meek on this Ornn, TP available, this is going to be a tough contest for the side of Worms. Dragon pulled out by Lux. We'll see how these teams decide to play it. It's like not going to be contested. Souls just clearing some vision. Trying to approach, but not going to be able to make it. That's sole point for the side of Lux.
2 members were approaching from the bottom side, but there just was not enough time for them to get in position, for them to find a favorable fight.
And I mean, that comes back to 7 getting picked off in the mid lane there. No sums. Really tough to play around those flanking members. I think Pantheon walking up, an Ashe arrow coming in over top, and all of a sudden you don't have any mobility on this Jinx. You can try to kite it out, but the members of Lux all in position. That was a nice pick, and they translate that into a dragon take. Michael can just continue running around on the top side.
Ult comes out from Beavis, bit too far. Oh, but he'll flash for the kill. And holy, that's a lot of burst.
Just far enough. I mean, flashes in. Maybe it was a bait and switch. You know, 7 sees this Pantheon fly 2 screens away. Then the flash for
Oh, wow.
Beavis enough.
Oh.
Ulti on the bot side.
Okay, that is a kill for Marth.
That was a tight one too. That Mel ult was seconds away from going off, but the Malzahar Q silence comes on through, and it's enough for the mid laner of Worms to pick up that solo kill. Comfortable lead now on the Malzahar.
This one is
Michael
starting to
getting
deal a
engaged on
lot
yet
of
again.
damage. Ult comes out. He won't find that knockup.
Find it.
Michael will barely be able to walk away. But Souls is here looking. Michael knows, just backs up even further.
Not gonna get it. You mind closing out of the
Oh,
kind of
my
options
bad.
menu?
My bad.
You're good. You're good. And we are still the fight's back that we're even in gold, but it really feels like to me, Lux is still the ones in control of this game. It's just a matter of if they continue to play kind of collected around Beavis and this Ashe and this Zyra. Jungle and bot lane, you know, the solo laners have not been doing too well. Michael just not in a spot to really contest the Warren on the side. And Wisconsin, I think at this point just has to sit back and just try to farm up. Shouldn't really be getting soloed by a Malzahar at this stage of the game. We are a little bit weaker.
Looking
Beavis
for
looking
something.
some
Cold
action
Meek
in the
shows
jungle.
up. Zyra ult will catch both of them. 7 though here, positioning. Will be able to free hit for the time being. They're going to get 1 kill onto the Pantheon. Michael flashes in, finds
Flash!
Calico. That'll be a kill for Minus, picks up another. And now both of the...
he's
Oh,
gliding.
wow. Okay. Too fast, guys.
Yeah, that was insane. I mean, it looked good for Worms on the start of that fight. You get this pick onto Beavis, who's been a real thorn in the side of 7. And this Jinx, you know, starting to walk forward, but in comes Michael, flashes forward, goes for the flip on Calico. Can't imagine that was the intended target, but it works out well. You knock down the Melio, and Minus that whole time was just raining down on those arrows. 2.5 items on that Ashe, pumping out the damage. 7 just cannot match it at this stage of the game. Malzahar in the bot side, that's the, you know, that is at this point of the game most of the damage for Worms. Jinx, until she gets to like 3-4 items, is not really going to be pumping that much out. And so a great fight win out of the Worms, and kind of brings us into a first significant gold lead, I'd say, right around 2,500, 20 minutes in.
Yep, as Worms, you're very happy to see 3-0 on your Malzahar, but Lux's plan is absolutely working. As you see, the highest stats for the Wormies is on the Jinx. The fight breaks out. Druzy a little bit caught out here, uses the flash to create some space. Beavis now still super healthy. The Ashe ult will find 7, and that's another kill for Minus. Double kill. Will pick up this last one too, unless Beavis steals it from him.
I respect the angle there, you know, jumping onto the Zyra, but she flashes out, and then all of a sudden you're a bit caught out far up there. Minus, Druzy, and Beavis all in the area. You even had the first move from Wisconsin, and Worms yet again getting the better of Lux on a fight, and they're
A
looking at the
root will
bot
be
side
found
now.
on a Marth. That's just an easy kill, as he did not know that Beavis was there.
Starting to snowball for the side of Lux here. You know, the other strength in the side of Worms comps is Cold Meek on this Ornn. I mean, he has this TP available, but he just hasn't been able to get involved in big team fights. And now, all of a sudden, Bird hits Soul, Ocean Soul, for this side of Lux.
Threatened by the Jinx ult, but yep, it was just a very easy dragon sweep there with the mid laner of Wormies down for the time being. They just pick up that last dragon, and there is absolutely nothing for Worms to do.
Minus 5, 1, and 7. Druzy 2, 1, and 11. 2 items on the Zyra, 3 items on the Ashe. And now with the Ocean Soul, I imagine they're going to start to look to play towards Baron. You know, establish some vision. The top side of the map, you have Michael with the teleport going into the bottom lane. So, you know, maybe you look for these picks from an overextending Worms member. It has been happening in these last 5 minutes or so. And then you can start to turn towards Baron. You should be pretty tanky and able to do it pretty quickly. They're just going to start it up.
Marth has to walk all the way up as he does not have teleports.
Yeah, this
Slowly
is on a ward,
positioning to
so
contest this. Minus positioned away.
okay, they're going to get
They'll
it.
pick it up. The Ashe ult lands onto Souls, and he's just dead.
Oh, what's going on?
And there's nothing to say there. 1 by 1. as Worms were not fully in position to contest that. All it takes is one person getting caught out. Beavis looking for the stun. He'll just tank the death, I guess. Doesn't matter too much at this point.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be able to end here, right? Death timer's still pretty short, just 24 minutes in, but that's going to be Baron and Soul. Just a very well-structured fight coming out from the digital church there. You know, you get the Baron, sneak it away, even on vision, they're able to burst it down. And then as Souls was making his approach, he just gets pounced on, and the rest of Worms just not right by him to help follow up and keep your jungler alive. And part of that maybe because Michael that whole time running up manually from the bot side, wreaking havoc kind of in the backline. Marsillimans had to use the Malzahar ulti on the Singed, and then with Xin Zhao down, with Ornn unfortunately missing the Call of the Forge God ulti, it was just an easy wipe for the side of Lux. And now with this Baron, they're setting up a 4-1 push, it looks like, and should be easy closings out from here, unless Worms can find some miracle picks. But Panthald in the bot side.
Beavis will ult on to Marth. Enchanted Crystal Arrow barely gets the hit. He's just dead, but we knew that before anything even started.
Yeah, great side lane pick. I mean, just a bit too far up from Marth there with those globals available, Beavis being so strong. So now have no Malzahar, which is a good chunk of your wave clear. You're still staring down this Baron. It looks like kind of splitting things up across 3 lanes. Beavis still looking for more action. Bot wave coming in. Expect Minus to claim yet another tower for the side of Lux.
Looks like they'll claim another on the top side as well. You know, in these team fights, I just don't think that Lux is giving them a single opportunity to get the Malzahar ult onto Minus where it matters. That, and there's just so much threat everywhere else on the team, so much damage, as now it's a complete wallet diff. But the Ornn ult will go. They're looking for Druzy. He flashes out. Beavis and Wisconsin being just burned down. 7 is able to free hit here for the first time in a while. Flashes for the kill on Druzy. How many kills is that for him? And a team wipe. Okay. I'm on
Worms wiggling
for
back.
a reason.
Yeah, crazy fight. They're able to find the angle. I mean, you were talking about it, right? They haven't just gotten this structured fight that they need, and that's the strength of the comp. Part of that is because Lux has been playing around it well, you know, going for these more skirmish-based fights and taking fights on their terms. But this time, Cole the Meek is at the fight at the start, and he's the one who starts things off with the Call of the Forge God, excuse me. And -2 coins and Druzy get knocked up by it. Marsilliman doesn't need to ulti the Ashe there. Just ultis the front line, gets the reset for the Jinx, and Michael was in the top lane that entire time as well. So it was a 4 versus 5, and that's what you got to do. You got to somehow find these numbers and find these miracle fights when you're down. And now maybe you put yourself in the spot for an Elder flip 45 seconds away. Otherwise, you're going to need to find another miracle fight somehow if you're Worms.
Really, really good on Worms, though, to say, hey, guys, I know this looks boned, but look, their top laner is still on the other side of the map. We can look. Speaking of looking, Druzy looks like he's caught out again, is able to walk out, but Beavis is being burned down. He still has GA. Michael has to flash out as well. His Jinx is still healthy. Oh my, and that is so much burst damage. 7 just going up, looking. She does so much damage now. Oh my. This Jinx is no longer weak. And it showed there as they were all grouped up. Those rockets are one-shotting everybody. And now it's Elder for Worms, which I was not expecting whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, they find another good fight, right? It's the same setup as what we saw in the bot lane there, where you have Ornn around you to begin with, and so Souls can jump in confidently. And the front line in Michael and Beavis, they're not the ones who are actually playing in front these last 2 fights. You get the pick onto Druzy, who, you know, I think he flashes out or somehow escapes, but point is the fight starts off on bad terms, and then Beavis getting Malzahar ultied. It's very structured from the side of Worms, and now at this point, you know, your Jinx has 4 items, so she can hit for damage if she gets the uptime. You know, yes, this Ashe still has a bit of a lead, and you still have some good gold on other members, but by now, you know, you're starting to wonder if it's too late almost. Like Lux, they were scaling perfectly, and then just a few missteps there and a few capitalizations on the punishments from Worms has given them an Elder, and now they're looking down a Baron as well.
And I think a lot of this comes down to the value of the top pick. This Singed hasn't proven very useful just as a champion in these team fights. Meanwhile,
yeah, I mean,
the ult from Orange just
flips.
provides so much value in the engage. So
Interesting map split here. Look at the bottom side of the map. You still have 2 members on this Baron, but bottom side you have minus on the inhibitor, and 2 members going to be hitting that bot inhib tower.
Yeah, what they're saying is you can have the Baron, you're stronger than us right now, but we're going to take your base and just make it even more difficult for you to make other plays on the map. We'll have these angles to punish you off of these fights later when you don't have that Elder buff.
That Elder buff, crucial thing there. I like that call, right? You know you're into Elder. Let's not look for any fights here. Being a little creative, getting an inhib. Maybe there's arguments that Worms should have kept someone back to prevent that from happening. But you really only have TP on Cole the Meek, and you want that Ornn there in the front line to help zone. So both sides playing it pretty well, just standard cross-map League of Legends. Elder there for another 25 seconds, and Baron up pretty fresh. We'll see what Worms can do to continue to push this game forward. Marching down the mid lane. TP coming in from Ornn.
Having all 5 here limits Lux's chances of being able to use their pick to take one person.
Cleanse out of Jinx. That's big, and Elder is officially off. I will say the wave clear out of Lux should be pretty comfortable in this 5v5 setup. And you even have the Zyra to help things out in terms of like space building.
With a lot of wave clear, a lot of poke. But Melio at the same time is keeping this team pretty healthy. Oh, and Wisconsin
Oh
just a
my
little bit
gosh.
too far. Here comes the Ornn Horn. Won't be able to get it off. 7 knocked up. The flash comes out from Beavis.
Gosh.
He'll flash out, and now the Jinx has resets. She's going. This might be the end of the game. Minus has to flash out. There he goes. The GA is popped, but he has no chance of getting out here. No flash. The entire team, the Worms on him. Druzy is the only one left. That's game 1. I would have never expected the Wormies to bring it back, but they found a way. Holy. What a banger game 1.
What a turnaround for the Worms. I mean, I all but counted them out. Lux was just playing their comp well. You have this early game team comp, but eventually this Jinx came around, found the resets. I think a big part of that was due to Ornn, Cole the Meek, just being that tanky front line for the squad. Finding the team fights, Soul's getting those kicked off as well, Marth providing some damage over top, and the Worms wiggled their way to a game 1, and you almost wonder, oh, that Jinx ban, was that the difference?
I think so in that case. I mean, just 1 or 2 key missteps from Lux, giving a ton of shutdowns over, getting those kills on the Jinx for Wormies was absolutely pivotal in that game, and just put Wormies in a winning spot in an instant.
Yeah, I mean, that just felt like 2 fights, and then the game was flipped. Would have liked to see Lux kind of play it maybe a little slower with, you know, having these buffs and just playing together to make sure okay, maybe we actually get some value out of our Singed, whether that's in the side lane or some flank angles. Because they did have the lead for a lot of that game, and a lot of that was because of how well the bot lane was playing, but just not able to really bring it over the edge. Ashe doesn't quite scale, as well or as cleanly as something like a Jinx Melio. And by 30 minutes, it was just a little bit too late around those big neutral objectives. And I'll even say Worms kind of steal away that game one.
Yeah, I think that Ornn value is just impossible to ignore. As much as Jinx was like the reason that they were winning those late game team fights, or at least how it seemed at face value, because of how much damage Seven was able to pump out, the engage tool from Ornn was the only reason they were able to find those fights in the first place.
Agreed. Yeah, I don't think, not at all a knock to Seven. I don't think he played it bad by any means, but most of that team fighting that we're talking about, Jinx gets the star, the AD carry, but it's just because there was so much space built in there that all you got to do is get one auto off, because you have this very well structured team fight in front of you, and then you can navigate the rest with ease. I am going to hate on the Singed pick a little bit. I kind of wonder, hey, should we have taken something that has more team fight value or even more laning value? Because I got to think that's not what you want to see out of your R5 counter pick. And when you're taking the same side, looks like Lux takes red side on game 2. That's going to be where I look first in terms of adjustments through the rest of the series.
I think that red side is still a good idea for Lux because Worms have shown that they are very willing to just slam first pick ADC no matter how counterable it is. And so they're sort of banking on them to do that. And then Minus can sort of use his pool to his advantage and counter pick. And then they also reserve that R5 for top or support. But you have to ask if Worms have sort of just found the answer into Lux, which is let's just ban out Minus. 3 ADC bans, I expect that to happen again. And slowly, in this best of 5, you're going to see Minus's entire pool sort of just disappear. Or he won't lose everything, but he'll lose a lot of the stuff that he sees as answers.
Yeah, I mean, especially if they keep banning him out, right? Maybe even see it a little bit on that Ashe there. The Caitlyn was banned in that second phase, and some of those more comfort picks in the Ezreal, the Corki, not available as an early answer, and you don't really have as much carry agency on something like the Ashe. So that's the other angle you maybe expect Lux to adjust to is, hey, let's get Minus on something that really does some hyper carry level damage, because lane went so well early on here, and Worms are likely gonna blind pick 780 carry again. And so let's get a even better matchup bot lane, not just in terms of lane, but in terms of the game state, and kind of go from there. Maybe you save pick for support to help facilitate that. We'll kind of see how things play out. I'm excited to see the adjustments that come through from both sides. Tiny pause related to making sure spectator delay is operational.
Bird, what supports to hate you to play against? What supports do I hate to play against is what I assume that means. Uh oh, I absolutely hate playing into. Hold on, what's a really bad support? Hold on. I thought I would be able to think of something quicker. I beg you, don't pick Senna support. I beg you. Please don't. I will actually cry. Xerath too. Oh man, I just hate playing into Xerath and Senna. Please don't do it. Alright, I'm gonna get some water.
Yeah, that sounds good. A really, really old guy. Yo, Ryan, why are we doing that CLT? You needed 2 reallys? There. The R drafts are coming in. And gonna run ads, so I'll probably just kind of pipe down, take the little minute and a half break.
I'm back.
Sounds good. I think they were waiting for you to start draft. And then we had an ad running anyway, so worked out well timing wise. We can get the draft started. A lot of fun in chat. How many reallys before an old does CLT deserve, Bird? You're thinking
Sorry,
2,
what?
3, maybe 4?
What?
If you were to describe CLT as an old guy, would it be a really, really old guy? A really, really, really old guy?
Oh, he's Unk.
More
He's like
more
60.
reallys? Just Unk? Yeah, 60 sounds about right, huh?
Yeah.
Just had to confirm. Okay, a little bit of differences in draft from the get-go as 2 support bands coming in instead of 3 ADC bands.
What?
Shocker.
Okay.
Yeah, different bands all around. You don't really see this too much in Fearless, but Worms and Lux already looking for a different angle in these games, I guess, is Vagar on B1 for the Worms.
I wonder if Worms will still pick their ADC in these next 2 picks, or if they're going to hope that Minus will pick before R5. and they'll just look to counterpick him. But I don't know. I kind of liked the approach of just triple banning him.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I mean, unless you have kind of a plan into those power picks, which maybe that's what the Vagar is, right? It's a little awkward to play, what was banned, the Corki and the Tristana, into something like a Vagar, just because of the zone control. And the Jax pick as well is kind of throwing me off. We'll see what that no pick is.
Victor.
It's a Victor. Victor matching up into the Vagar. I like that pick. I feel like that's a pretty stable matchup, and you should be able to kind of have the advantage on paper as the Victor. The Jax, I feel like it's a little early for a Jax pick, even if it is technically a flex between jungle and top. That's something I would prefer to get held on to. But in this case, they're taking it early, and on the side of Worms, it's going to be a blind Xayah locked in alongside the Vagar. How do you feel about that early Xayah pick, being the expert, paired with the Rakan as well?
I can do it. I don't know if Bill can do it. I can do it. No, it's not
That's the
bad. I mean,
question.
I would prefer to see something from their bot lane picked already, but I think it's possible. The problem is that it's into minus.
Yeah, and Maokai going to be the lock-in there. I think in terms of counters that Worms is maybe banning out, because I gotta imagine you take 80 on 4 here. You could go a traditional handshake in the Kaisa, playing that into the Xayah. Uh, Options with
Mm,
just tons of range, a Caitlyn, right?
I don't think Kai'Sa's a good idea at all. Because it's dive, Zaya's anti-dive. Like, Zaya is just a... She's known as a counter into Kai'Sa.
But really,
Yeah.
ADCs I've played with have just kind of liked that trade, just kind of as a callback, but that's fair. And into Vagar, it may be a bit tough to navigate.
The
So
Corky
then
ban comes out.
maybe something with more range. Try to play the lane side a bit more.
There's the Caitlyn. Secure that range advantage. You're going to be able to get early push, match the push later.
Yeah, should pair up well with what I assume is going to be Maokai support. Victor is the none pick, so probably Victor mid. Imagining Jack's top depends on the matchup. Could be Maokai jungle as well. More flex shenanigans coming out from Lux. But their carries are set up, and I think you have stronger carries this game on the side of Lux, at least in terms of scaling with a Caitlyn and a Victor, where if the game does go to that point where things are kind of even around 4 or 5 items, you should be in a good spot between these two characters from Arcane.
We'll see where these picks from Lux are going. Mundo, Jax, Victor, Kate, Maokai. Okay. Makes sense. I don't know top very well, but surely Dr. Mundo into Renekton is pretty bad, right?
feel like, I mean, I feel like it should be stable enough, but just based on how game one went, Call the Meek. I mean, I'm imagining that's a bit of a main pick, the Renekton kind of namesake there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
should be
this is one of
Renekton
his better
favored.
picks.
Yeah, what tells me that? Should be favored for Renekton, but I mean, it's just I don't know what we're doing with those R5 picks if we're not setting ourselves up for comfortable lanes. Why are we even saving R5 for top lane? I'd almost rather you have the Jax up there. I'm pretty sure that plays better into the Renekton. Uh, but they go for the Mundo. Maybe it's just to try to give you some scaling options up there, just based off how game one went. And, don't want to overreact. But the Singe didn't do anything in game one with the counter pick. Lost lane, didn't really have much impact beyond one good roam into the enemy jungle. And I feel like this Mundo is setting yourself up for a similar thing where you're not really winning lane, and you're not really going to be providing as much impact late game as your opposing top laner. Oh, we got the predictions running as well. Gamba time. Can I predict and then caster curse accordingly?
Yeah, am I allowed to? Am I allowed to?
We gonna get called out for conflict of interest?
All right. For the record, I did not vote.
For the record, I will be voting. We'll keep it light though. I want a series. We'll go 2K on Lux.
Only 2K.
Although I
huh?
do like Worm's draft a little bit better. Yeah, I mean, can't curse him too much, right? Gonna be getting some threats afterwards, if so.
I think it's very possible that Caitlyn will struggle into Renekton, Sejuani, Rakan. There's a lot of dive threat there. But at the same time, he has that range to play through. He has a lot of front line in Maokai Mundo. And this Xayah might find it difficult to make things happen.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what you're hoping for if you're Lux is, hey, we have enough of a front line around our Caitlyn this time, whereas, last game with that Ashe Zyra setup, it's tough to really get that off the ground. But in this case, you have something like a Maokai, just press that ultimate button. Victor throwing down a gravity field, Mundo standing in front. Even if the Mundo doesn't get off the ground, that's still an extra 3,000-4,000 health you got to burn through. And so maybe you give your star ADC some time to hit, and that's the vision there. But if these fights go long, I got to imagine the space building of Xayah and Veigar, and just the way that Worms team fought in game one is going to put them in a favorable spot during this game too.
I think the Worms really have to abuse their mid-game power. Xayah will be stronger than Caitlyn, assuming this lane goes even. And this Mundo won't be scaled at that point. It will be possible to get bot prio this time for Worms, because Xayah has the wave clear to do it. A lot of people can't say that into Caitlyn.
Yeah. And Maokai as well, not necessarily a super imposing support pairing alongside that Caitlyn. It's not something that's going to poke you out like a Karma or another range support. It's kind of more playing disengage for any potential Rakan grand entrances. Let's see, Spectre to delay is up. About to get into game. Let you do the setup. Taking a look at summoners, it is Ignite for the Renekton. Something to keep an eye on, really playing for that lane. Cleanse for 2 coins on the Caitlyn. I don't necessarily know if you needed it this game. But you really only have this Sejuani ulti that I feel like is the big threat there. Heal for Druzy, Unsealed Spellbook for the Rakan, Calico, and then I'm not really up to date too much with the latest happenings, but Conqueror on Xayah, is that the current tech?
Yes, it is.
Got it. Just wanted to confirm. Makes sense. I mean, if you're hidden for a while, which I think is the goal if you are 7. And we do have a 3-minute ad running right now, so we can take our time and probably chill in this early game, since people will be watching some Xbox ads, it looks like right now. Oh, no, it's State Farm. Your thoughts on Jake from State Farm?
That's my homie.
Your homie?
Yeah.
Damn, I want to be homies with Jake from State Farm. Oh my gosh. How far back you guys go? Oh shoot! Okay. That was kind of insane. Calico bringing in Druzy. Interesting how the interaction worked as well. The knockup didn't connect. Just more of a transportation module. I do wonder if that was intentional, because if that is, and Calico can reliably pull off that interaction, that makes the lane pretty interesting, where Druzy really just can't W forward. But already 2 coins and Druzy establishing a bit of a lane advantage, doing exactly what you want to do on this Caitlyn.
Yeah, if you're using that range advantage, poking out Xayah, she can't do too much to clear the wave faster than Caitlyn right now. Caitlyn gets the push if she wants in these early levels.
This is kind of what we were talking about in the top lane. Cold Meek is already about 2 waves up as Twisted Advance comes in from Calico. Gets out before taking too much damage. But yeah, in this top side, I mean, it's an R5 counter pick on this Mundo here, and sure, maybe you scale up. I just don't really think you do, and you're just signing yourself up for a losing lane. Like, why wouldn't you save pick for somewhere else then? Get a more favorable matchup elsewhere. Souls is going to be spotted out on the warp, flashing forward.
Okay. Druzy goes in. It looked like he was caught for a second, but... Holy. Okay, 7. Bit of an overextension. Stayed up while his team was going back. Proper punish from Minus and Druzy. Will force the flash out of him. Flash barrier, actually. Are now down 4-7 Xayah.
Maybe some action around this scuttle, but it looks like Sejuani able to get away with it, so Beavis gonna turn his eyes towards that top scuttle. But a lot of sums burned that bot side of the map. No flash on the Sejuani is a big cooldown, and you know, I think a bit of an overstep from 7 on the Xayah. Really overplaying his hand there after Sejuani already left, and now no sums on the Xayah could mean trouble if Druzy ever finds an angle in onto the 80 carry of Worms.
They've done a good job at getting him pretty low here, so I don't think he can look on for any type of engage.
Flash
Oh,
forward.
but there, oh my.
Oh my goodness. He's calling the Meek. Ignite and
Beavis
flash,
was
that's
there
why
to
you
cover,
go the
but
Ignite.
not quick enough. Cole knew what he had to do.
And that's going to be a big kill for the Renekton early on. Starting the snowball, and Cycle gonna have to watch himself now. Doesn't TV back, so gonna miss that wave as well. And all of a sudden, once again, top lane looking good for Worms.
Skizzy, I am not getting money off of the ads. Gets all of it.
I won't.
Usually
stand
looking for
this
an
sort of
in.
slander.
7 has already gotten chunked pretty low. The Q misses because of the knockback. And that'll be just enough luck to get him out. Calico now also chunked. They'll have to both base here. Druzy does
So
not
unlucky.
have the mana for another engage, so I wonder... No, they will not stick around.
That's just so unlucky. Oh my gosh. I mean, that really should be a kill, right? It's a good angle from Druzy and just an unfortunate kind of miscue there between the bot lane of Lux. But even still, they got an ICS lead. They forced Seven and Calico off. Gank in the mid lane.
Both force the flash out of Wisconsin. Oh my, oh my. Wisconsin. Let's go. I did it.
Some tough names to say. I'm pretty sure I called Marth. I added an I in the Sillamance, but it's just Silmance.
Girls
I
Hate
was
Me
doing
was
that all of game one.
getting me last series.
Kind of a mouthful to say, and just a quick little spiel as Dragon is going to be started up by the side of Worms. Looks like Contest coming
Lux is
through.
closing in slowly. Minus is alone on the bot side. We'll see if they can turn it onto him. A huddle going on in the Dragon Pit, and Minus manages to steal it. Now, 3 members of Worms stuck in this Dragon Pit. Again, 7 does not have his flash. He's just going to die. So will Souls. All members of Lux still left alive. And now
that
2
was
kills.
that a 4 for 1? 4 for 0.
4 for 0, yeah.
Oh my goodness. I mean, you cannot ask for a better situation if you're Lux. You're once again a little behind on the Dragon. I think this exact same thing happened in game 1. But you get the Dragon thanks to somehow Minus sneaking that in. And then you also get 4 kills. And just like that, you know, you're still way behind top lane. But the rest of the map is now open for you to really try to play through. Especially this Caitlyn who's going to back with 1 kill, 3 assists, and look to get another component and continue to push this advantage in the bot lane. That's where my eyes are going to be for the next 5 minutes in terms of seeing what Lux can do with these leads.
And it was a sigh of relief earlier, Minus not picking up that kill on Xayah because of the knockback, interfering with the Q hitting. But now, you've lost that sigh of relief, as Caitlyn now has 1 kill and 3 assists. Still with the farm lead. Good on Michael for taking that base there, as at any moment I feel like he could have been dove. Calico
So
has
once
roamed
again,
up
similar
for
to
the
game 1.
gloves.
Yeah, and this is going to leave bot lane open. You know, yes, it's a good roam and you secure the grubs. I like it more so in this game, in game 1, because you have more of a side lane presence in Renekton. But can any punishments come through for the side of Lux? It doesn't really look like it. You know, Xayah's already level 6, so that's going to be a pretty tough AD carry to dive. Has the flash this time around as well. Should be okay.
He is pretty behind on items right now. There comes the engage.
They're going for it.
Golden Meek actually pretty low here. I'm not sure if he was taking tower shots earlier or what happened. A little fight happening in the mid lane. Neither mid is really strong enough to find a kill very easily on the others.
And I am getting word.
Establish some vision control with Beavis here. They're looking for a dive. Bit of an early engage onto 7 there. I think that makes it a lot more difficult for them to find something. 7 will be able to clear the wave here. But they're finding so much poke onto 7. The barrier is burned.
Wow.
Souls
Yeah,
now
agreed.
here to
It looked
push
like
them
that
off
was
of anything
really
further.
early from Beavis, but it does work out. You force the flash at a 7, just scared of that burst damage coming through, and now he has to recall, so more plate money going over to -2 coins. And yes, this Sejuani's in the area. Can she accomplish anything though?
They
Druzy
don't
engaged
have a
on.
lot of damage. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Keeping it spicy. I mean, it's just a Sejuani Rakan, so not enough
Yeah.
damage to actually get anything done there, but does dissuade any further tower damage coming through. Victor, you know, despite the 2 kills picked up in the Dragon, still pretty behind, at least in terms of CS, into Mars here. The solo laners flash forward from Cole. It's gonna be enough, and the Triumph, okay, not quite enough to live. So
We saw like 3 different
something back
heals
from
come through
Michael.
there for him. Thought it was going to be a classic getting dove and the person who dives just gets left on 0 HP after 3 random heals.
Yeah, right. Just as I was about to praise the solo laners, I mean, yeah, it's right there in front of you. He goes and does that. Marth is, you know, 25 CS up. Koldamik on this comfort pick Renekton, 55 CS up in, or sorry, 45 CS up. Math is correct. 45 CS up in what was supposed to be a counter pick matchup for Vykel. So he's really not going the way of the solo laners, and they're kind of just being bailed out by 2 coins here. On the Caitlyn, it's taking that kill from that first dragon, pushed it forward with more plate gold, and now they're looking towards the second Drake. Starting it up, and we'll see if Worms decide to contest it. Souls in the Raptor Pit, not making the approach.
The dragon will be uncontested. I brought up gold here. There is a very significant lead in the bot lane. 2,000, over 2,000 gold lead for Minus. He is sitting really happy. And in the mid lane, we do see Wisconsin, though down a lot on farm, is still up on gold by about 200, 300.
Yeah, that's interesting to me. I almost thought he did have a gold lead of 7, taking some chunk.
A 1.5k gold lead for Koldamik on the Renekton also.
Tale of 2 sides of the map here. It's Beavis in the top side, maybe looking for something.
The stun will land off of a dash back in from Cole. He'll find those random heals. He'll get the double kill. Soul's there to assist. And in the spot
Great
lane,
slice out of Renekton. I mean, not expecting him to go back in there, but knows the limits obviously better than I do with that champion. Pops the Dominus and just turns it onto Beavis, who already used the Counter-Strike earlier. And to your point, that gives Minus and Druzy time to hit on the bot lane.
yeah, we saw Seven and Calico both poked out there. They had the base. Lux knew that the that Souls was nowhere near them, so they took their opportunity. They grabbed that tower. Top side tier 1 will go down to Koldamik just a little bit later. Beavis is here to look for something else, but there is vision.
It's going to be that tale of 2 sides, right? Can this Renekton, all 4 kills, actually get on top of this Caitlyn? Renekton into Caitlyn's not at all easy, but maybe you have enough long-range engage with something like a Sejuani or some flashes forward between top lane and maybe Calico on the Rakan. Or just an overstep from Minus, maybe what you're looking for.
Yeah, you need to burn Minus's flash. You need to burn his cleanse for any reliable chance at killing him.
And it talked about it a little bit early on. It's kind of Caitlyn versus the world here, and so far Caitlyn doing well, buying time for Wisconsin to scale up on the Victor. You know, that's going to be a bit of a late game threat too. Now they're in the mid lane. They're going to continue to push this lead into plates.
7 was
Keep
doing
my
a whole
eyes on
lot of hitting
Soul.
for really not much damage. I mean, you're seeing just how ahead Minus is. Over 50 CS. 1 kill, 3 assists. There's absolutely nothing Xayah can do. You can try to clear the waves. Caitlyn does it faster.
I mean, this is where I feel like you got to get the team involved, right? I got my eyes on Souls. Hey, can you make a roam happen, maybe? Even the Renekton. Because otherwise, -2 coins is just going to continue to stomp over this mid lane. See B5 hovering, knowing that they're probably looking to shut down this Caitlyn. You know, you got to stem the bleeding at some point. 170 CS in 15 minutes is... It's insane. Well played to 2 coins. Getting that happening. Good trading from Wisconsin, so you know Mar's out of the play. But they're still just bleeding in the mid lane and really not making any plays to stop it from happening. Dragon up in 40 seconds as well. They're probably just going to take this tower back up, and now with this massive gold lead on your Caitlyn, look to play around that 3rd dragon in the game and put themselves on Soul Point. You know, yes, Renekton is still pushing into this top lane. To see the vision get set up down bot lane. And maybe some picks happened before, but I expect the next kind of big bout of action to happen around that Drake if Worms decide to contest it.
Cole has base now. He's coming out. Dragon up in 10 seconds. Calico's looking. They find a pit. They find an engage onto Druzy, but they can't make anything happen. The Rakan will fall.
Yeah, Koldemeek is down here now. Michael's still on the top side, but does have to teleport. Keep your eyes on that Mundo getting into the fight. Should be able to make it a 5 versus 4.
The cleanse comes out of Minus. He's creating the space. Marth will flash over with a giant cage, and he'll catch 2. Michael has now TP'd in. He's on to the Xayah. That'll be a kill for him. And beautifully played,
Oh, not quite.
honestly.
Oh my gosh, what an angle from Marth. You mentioned they built the space at the start there with Souls finding that Sejuani ulti, forcing the cleanse out, and then after that, Marth just flashing over the wall for a better Event Horizon cage angle. Finds 2 with the stun, including Wisconsin, and Minus just not able to get kind of layered, structured team fight there that you want in the Caitlyn. Doesn't get the trap set up, doesn't really get down, and eventually gets flashed on by Koldemeek. You know, that was the question. Can this Renekton get on top of the Caitlyn? And does so in that fight with the flash. They did have to trade him. And coming to my attention, I don't know if this is part of the tech. You have a Zeke's convergence on the Renekton. But Dragon still being started up, TP coming in. Action will seize there as Soul Point does go over to the side of Lux, even after a rough team fight. But more on this Zeke's. Is there... I'm a little shocked. Can you walk me through this one? Because I don't get it.
On Cole?
On Cole, yeah.
Bro, I don't know. I know that certain like more support typical items like Zeke's and Knight's Vow are getting a lot better on tanks, but as a fighter like Renekton, and especially one this powerful 6-1, like you are your team's strong point. And oh, hold on. Druzy coming in with an ult will create the space for Minus to sort of just run at Calico. Ace in the hole comes out, will not find the kill. Druzy's caught here. 7 able to free hit for a while. Beavis looking for an in, won't find it. Koldemeek is a little bit too threatening right now. And the Rift Herald will go over to the Worms. But as I was saying, things like Knight's Vow, yeah, Zeke's being built on these tankier champions, but I would expect it more on the Sejuani than I would on Renekton. Again, hovering top side, looking for the catch onto Koldemeek. Will find the stun. Ult comes out of Koldemeek. Holy! The Zeke's damage, guys, it was worth.
Yeah, I mean, just saw that earlier on in the game. I mean, you just don't really have enough damage to contest this now 8-kill Renekton. Baikol's not going to be providing it, and Beavis on the Jax at this stage of the game. Certainly not either, but Bruzy still looking for more. Koldamik slicing forward.
Just so much healing out of Koldamik. The Ignite will finish off Baikol. And now it's just Druzy all alone. The dash comes up. Meanwhile, on the bot side, Marth is winning this 1v1. You don't feel very comfortable as Lux anymore.
It's a massive solo lane diff, and to be frank, Lux is not playing to their strengths here. You have this fed Caitlyn. This is who you need to be playing around. Let's not force things into what has been a very dominant Renekton and just top laner in this series so far. You know, looking at mid lane as well, I mean, this happened a bit in game 1 where, you know, you're giving over some silly solo kills where you don't really have to be fighting. And Veigar's not necessarily that champion that you should be getting soloed on. I mean, you avoid the cage and you're good, especially on something like the Victor. Not like you have a kill angle. So now, you know, you bring up the gold. It's 5,500 for the top lane. Now 1,000 for the mid lane, and Minus looking for some action, but forcing the Feather Storm out of 7. I mean, it's not the way you want to see Worms play this game. You draft for the Caitlyn and you're not playing around it properly. But credit to Worms for finding these angles on the side lane. Koldamik just dominant showing in this game too. Absorbing these 1v2s and really absorbing this pressure for his team to just hopefully farm up and put themselves in a spot to fight later on. Dragon up in 1:10. That could be the next angle.
Minus with a bit of an overextension, but there's no follow-up. The Beavis will come in, land the stun onto Calico. Now 7 still has souls in front of him. Woof. Has to burn the flash. But a false sense of security. Souls not wanting to go back in. Stayed up and just got poked down even more by the Caitlyn.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you want to see out of Lux, right? Hey, let's play towards our Caitlyn, you know. Calico jumping in a bit aggressively there, and all of a sudden another fight, potentially. Calico jumps in aggressively, and then the turn is there with Druzy, this counterpick Maokai. It can lock up what is usually a mobile Rakan. Gets a kill there, then forcing the flash out of 7. So well played to Lux there, and now with Dragon up in 10 seconds, we do have numbers down here. TP coming in from Veigar. Renekton jumped on.
Koldamik will get locked up here. This might be where he dies, but he flashes in and lands a stun onto Minus. Has to run away at very little health. Ace in the hole comes in. Won't find a kill, but Beavis is looking, finds it onto the Xayah. Featherstorm comes up just in time, but Calico is going to be the sacrifice. Marth caught out here without his team. Baikol is just marching forward, has to flash out eventually because of the protection from souls. And now Lux seem to be getting this dragon for free, and that will be Cloud Soul to them.
Yeah, I think the call for Lux, you know, yes, Baron was up. You know, Mojo bringing that up in chat, but just go for the soul, try to secure that. I think that's the thinking there. And this is where, you know, if we can jump back to the items, it's tough to agree with the Zeeks. I see the thought process, right? Okay, it's some ulti cooldown. It's maybe a cheap power spike item. Can you go back to items for the scorecard?
Oh, sorry. Yep.
You're good. But like, if that Zeeks is, you know, another damage item, when you flash onto Minus, maybe that's a kill, and that turns the whole fight, because it's still this Caitlyn who's doing all the heavy lifting. But instead, you know, Zeeks, you can hover over it too. I'm kind of curious. Zeeks doesn't really do too much damage, in my experience. It's
30 a second.
And 389 damage total, and that's including the AoE damage. You know, you're not getting as much value as you would out of a traditional bruiser item, or if you're looking for tankiness, you know, even then, not getting as much value there. the only thought is maybe the ultimate haste, but
It is for the ultimate haste, but you know, you gotta weigh the pros and cons. And right now, being really the strong point of your team by far, I don't think it's excusable.
and now you have Cloud Soul over to the side of Lux, and that's gonna make navigating these fights a lot tougher. You know, Mundo with Cloud Soul, Jax with Cloud Soul, and Maokai with Cloud Soul. They're gonna be incredibly mobile and kind of skirt around these fights much easier than they otherwise would have. I still think if you're Worms, you like your chance in this game, you have some good zoning, but that question of can we kill this Caitlyn is gonna keep poking its head. How do you kill this Caitlyn? You know, is it a Rakan flash engage? Is it maybe just hoping for a misstep? Otherwise, stuff like that's gonna happen.
Well, what I like to see now is Koldamik has picked up a Randuin's Omen. The engage lands onto Minus. He's caged now too. He doesn't have any way out. They find the pick onto him. They will find those 2 kills. 5 people mid, and Minus just a little bit too far up. But as I was saying, the Randuin's Omen is going to help significantly for Koldamik to be able to dive in and not die immediately to this Caitlyn, who is now coming up on 4 items.
Yeah, I mean, Caitlyn, I think, just overextending a little bit there. You don't have any summoners, and the Sejuani ult finds the angle, and the rest of Worms collapsing very nicely too. You kind of pincer them from all sides. Overstep in the mid lane, not enough heal around for 2 coins. And Minus, you know, yes, he may get that 4th item, but until then, he needs to make sure he stays alive. As much as the Renekton's the hope of Worms, Minus is even more so the hope of Lux. And so, he needs to make sure that positioning stays stable. We've seen it before, we know it can happen. It's been happening through most of this game. And you have the Cloud Soul to help navigate that as well. But now, kind of feels similar to last game where Worms, they just kind of, they keep themselves in it, wiggle themselves towards a Baron, and now may be able to just turn the game around if they can get some good pushes off. Over top. You see that Randuin's value, it's so nice. And it's just going to be, it's like the call is 5 mid.
They catch out Beavis in this bush. Looking, Calico does not find the engage. He'll be able to hop out to his teammates, and now Calico's stunned up. Looks like he'll be able to make it out. But now Worms, knowing they need to sort of just give a little bit of space right now. Next objective is Elder in 1:40.
They'll have Baron up for another 1.5 minutes to try to establish prior for that, but you really don't have the range, and so you need to somehow find these angles like they did in that initial pick. Maybe it's a Sejuani ult, but now sums up for Caitlyn. Maybe it's Calico finding an engage, or Koldamik finding a wraparound. And if you're Lux, you know, it's just about staying structured, keeping yourself safe. Druzy should always be in front of this Caitlyn here to make sure no funky business goes on. And setting yourself up in a good spot for the Elder is going to be key, because gold is pretty much even as we approach 30 minutes in.
Minus 1 step closer to an LDR, but he won't have it for Elder.
Yeah, a lot of little item nitpicks, I know. Gonna drop it as well. CLT gave me word, I don't know if he told you, but CLT is gonna drop in and announce all stars after this game, so don't go anywhere after this game ends. It's gonna be exciting stuff to see the recognition that all these great players deserve come through. Maybe we'll get his thoughts on this Zeke's Renekton as well. But Elder spawning in 30 seconds, that's gonna be a massive fight coming up, I gotta imagine, Bird.
Oh, and actually, we do have LDR finished on the Caitlyn. Managed to get that little bit of gold, but they don't have setup on this Drake. Koldamik is looking right for Minus. He has to flash out, but Martha's following. Will get shut down just in time, and now it's just a march forward. Michael's still very healthy, is sort of just walking at 7 here, but he's alone. Beavis looking for an in again, can't find it. Druzy, same thing. Koldamik is too strong, and Minus just unable to survive against a Veigar with flash. Koldamik still looking, manages to finish out that triple kill. Almost an ace for Lux, and now they're gonna go back, and this Elder will be free.
Just classic dive coming through from Worms. I'm not even gonna say it was like a great angle. It was just, let's all press our buttons, and the biggest thing there is they're all on the same page. They just go at the same time, and Minus actually not able to get out of that. It felt like he was in a good position to start there, but flashing over the wall, gets flash chased by Marth, and Marth didn't even flash ulti. It was a W from the Veigar that finished that kill off. I was so shocked. I mean, Caitlyn doing what she could to try to stay alive, but I think it was Beavis a bit caught out on the side. You know, he didn't have this clean front to back, so despite the fact that it wasn't, you know, honestly that great of a dive coming through from Worms, it was enough. They were on the same page, and they find this Caitlyn. Now that they have the Elder, it feels very similar to Game 1 Bird, where they just find these fights. They're on coordinated pages, and they pick off a less coordinated opposing team. And now 30 minutes in, looking to snowball with Elder and push forward for more.
It really is just so difficult, as you know. You're the only target as Minus, and you feel like you can't sit back and do nothing while the fight breaks out. But sometimes, like, even if you survive that initial engage, you can't let your guard down. You have to keep in mind there's still a Veigar who can, you know, flash onto me. There's still, you know, follow-up engage from other people, and there is so much to get on top of him. If it's not any of the engage tools, it's Veigar flash, which has proven to work 2 times now.
Yeah, this may be the most aggressive Veigar pick I have ever seen. I guess that's why you B1 it. When it's on Marth, you got the flexibility there. And they're just marching in for more. It's really tough for Lux to try to match it, just because, you know, a single pick ability, whether that's a Cage or a Sejuani ult, could mean death because of the Elder on the side of Worms. I think the solace here is there's no Baron minions that you have to clear for Lux, and Wisconsin, this stage of the game, does have pretty good damage to go through these minions. It's still Worms marching for more.
Will come in from Druzy, but won't find anybody. It's sort of just to push them off of this tower just a little bit. We see some poke coming through, but I think it's just impossible for Lux to find any sort of engage here. Wormies are giving them the respect that they deserve, having been poked out. Now Baron,
I don't mind that call. And Elder is officially gone, so yeah, we'll see if Worms turn their way towards Baron, kind of that next big objective. Try to establish some vision control and make it really tough for Lux to approach and contest. Still no flash on Caitlyn for another minute or two.
We got some late resets on both sides. Wormies will have the first look at Baron. Koldamik has TP, is looking to answer the split push.
I like that call. I mean, you're still favored in this 1v1, as we've seen all game. Should be a little more comfortable for Baikel having 3 items now, but it's a full build Renekton. And it is a bit of a tanky Renekton build, going for the Fawn as well as the Randuin, so gonna be able to just stick on that backline and try to be a menace. Calico going in!
Calico's caught out, has flash to get out of the Caitlyn Q though, and now 7 is pumping out a lot of damage. Sejuani R will be used as well. Koldamik has TP'd in.
Yeah, I mean, no crucial summoners lost there, but definitely big blows going back and forth. The Maokai ult is down. Should be back up, you know, relatively soon, but no flash on the Maokai. All carries do still have their flashes though, and that's going to be what my eyes are watching. You know, Renekton flash and Caitlyn flash on the other side, and how that kind of shapes up the fight, because Minus has somehow got to find a way to stay alive here.
But Lux sees that the entirety of Wormies is still here. They have not based. Marth getting a little poked out. They're going to keep their mid push.
For more here, they're not moving towards the Baron yet. Elder up in a minute as well. You don't want to find yourself in a situation where you're kind of splitting your priorities between those two. But it is Lux. They're actually getting some decent wave push. I think that Cloud Soul mobility helping them navigate these fights. Minus playing pretty brave, using that rapid fire to poke out, establishing space for the rest of his team. And Elder up in 30 seconds now means both these teams are going to be in for kind of interesting decisions. You know, in these late game situations, you typically want to go for the Elder just because of the combat power it gives you. And you see Vision in the Worm's red side jungle already established. Well done by Druzy, placing down those wards. Minus getting it back off, does have the GA, I want to point that out. So that's going to help a little more with survivability in what is going to be a banger, probably end of game fight here. Elder
They don't
spawn.
notice Beavis on the flank. Oh, they do now that they have gotten that scuttle.
Minus playing with the rest of the team here. No one hitting Elder yet.
Up
In goes Souls.
But making poke down here has to make something happen. Minus creating some space. Again, will. Oh.
Flashes out. Minus is
manages to
alive.
get out, but so many are still alive for Lux.
Oh, Lux has done it.
Look at that Victor ult. Oh, now it's gone, but holy, that was huge. Managed to make
Massive.
something happen. The Tiki comes out from mid. Gonna push forward.
Yeah, I mean, they don't really have wave states. You know, maybe there's an argument we can go top lane there, TP, and get an inhib. But I think the call is just to clear the waves and secure these two massive end game objectives. And with that, look to march forward and make a play. I mean, thinking back on that team fight, Caitlyn was able to stay alive there through what wasn't as clean of a dive. You have Victor on one side and Caitlyn on the other. So, you know, I saw Caligo go towards the Victor, I saw Solos go towards Victor, and then Cold Meat and Seven were looking towards the Caitlyn. And so with that kind of desync dive, this time around, Caitlyn able to stay alive, Victor able to stay alive and get that massive ulti. You know, they don't have crazy dive damage if they're not all together. And
It
so
looked
with
like
that,
the comms were a little bit unclear as Souls went in and backed off. And then Cole sort of went in, got chunked, and he was like, okay, I need to make something happen now.
just not able to do it at this stage of the game. Renekton is kind of falling off here at full build, and that tanky build as well. You know, more of a space builder, so my eyes turn towards Seven and Marth as we approach 40 minutes. What type of damage can you pump out as your frontline builds this space?
By the way, this Lux is, or sorry, this Xayah is no longer weak. They won't find you.
4 items. Still a little less than a minute on the Elder. Lux need to continue to push the pace.
Here. This could be an opportunity. Engage comes on
Minus
the
finds
he doesn't
Calico.
really have a good way out of this, but Vivas finds Marth all alone. Looks like he may fall, but now Druzy and Baikel marching forward. Seven is in a really rough spot, but he's surviving. Goes forward and dies for it. His entire team dying around him. And now, game 2 goes to Lux.
That is an ace. I mean, using that Elder and Baron very well there. Finding that late game team fight win. It was another banger, 21 to 21 kills. 40 minutes in, we are over a kill a minute pace in Herald League classic fashion, and we have ourselves a series tied up 1-1 as Lux take game 2 behind a great performance from the Caitlyn. And there's the man himself, CLT.
Ooh,
How's it going?
pretty good, gentlemen. How's your guys' night going?
Pretty
Can't
good,
complain.
buddy.
Watching some good League of Legends.
Yeah, that game 2 was exciting. Minus with the big old backpack there. All right. So, this was forwarded to me by Mr. Havoc himself. Uh, he crunched all the numbers, got all the results, and we do have our all-star selection for the splits. Uh-huh. Might be some familiar names, might be somebody even in the room here for that. So we'll start
Good job,
from
Nexus.
yeah, all-star caster right here for sure, the GOAT. So we'll start with top lane and work our way to support here. First team for top lane, Mr. Walliford from Misfits. Second team, Siren from Caster Cursed. Third team, which I think this guy's extremely underrated, being on the receiving end of him, Beichel from Lux Digital Church. So definitely well respected here in the top lane. Beichel showing off in this series as well. Jungle, Mr. Mojo Jojo from Caster Curse.
Let's go, my boy.
Theos, yeah, Captain Yapper himself. Theos from Lux Digital Church is the second selection. And How I Met My ADC from Misfits is our third selection. All three of these gentlemen have had fantastic splits. I think well deserved. Mid lane. Shit. First, that guy from Caster Curse.
Yeah.
I don't know why, guys.
Say it with your chest.
Sure. Second, Salka Senior from Misfits. Third, which I think is probably in the running for most improved player, Mr. Scrublord Ozai from Smothered and Covered. Yep, I think two of these three are very well deserving. That first guy, may have to talk about that one. But
Yeah,
Take
who
your
voted
flowers,
for
man.
that idiot? What?
I don't know. Everybody did for some reason. They're smoking.
Dirty Inter.
ADC, Lolcats from Misfits.
GG.
Had a very impressive split. So, yeah. Minus 2 coins from Lux Digital Church. Showing off in this game, putting on a impressive, 12 CS a minute last game we just watched? Something like that.
Yeah.
And the Birdman himself sitting in here. Mr. Big Sex
Hey.
Bird, RIP the name, from Caster Curse. So all three of these very well deserved. I think in this split there was so many good AD carries as well. This was I think there was a lot of discussion around this one. Support, Gizzy Barnes from Misfits. Second team, the MVP from last split who decided to make a role change, Mr. One-Handed Gaming himself from Caster Curse. And then third, coming in after a lineup change, he did start the split, I believe, top lane, and had himself an epic Olaf performance. I got him thrown down the support here. Mr. Druzy from Lux Digital Church. So, well respected for everybody that got voted on. We had a record level of votes come in, is what I'm being told. And yeah, I think well deserved. Misfits, Caster Curse, Lux, all being represented here. And then you have members from Smothered and a few other squads also represented. So, yeah, that is our all-star team for the 2026 Herald League split here. So,
MVP.
yeah, gentlemen. MVP will be announced at a later date.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. We will announce the MVP then. And maybe during finals week. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. That's what we've traditionally done, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, that is our all stars here. I think we're gonna have a lot of fun with it. I will be reaching out to everybody, trying to get a little time here, and have a lot of fun with this. I know last split we did 2 games of draft fearless and then a blind pick, which I thought was the big home run that everybody had a lot of fun with. But we got game modes like ARAM Mayhem out and stuff like that. So um, the whole point of this is to have a lot of fun. This is a free league, so I think everybody's here for the vibes, for the fun here. So yep, Nubs Entity, Nubs runner up off roll for support. Yep, he took that bullet. So, but yeah, Nexus, any thoughts here? I know you've kind of kept some tabs on the league, but
I'll be right
No,
back.
I think you mentioned everyone voting in, right? And I think that should speak alone to how deserving all these players are. No shockers from my end. I'm not following as close in the past as I would have, but I think especially for like first and second team, kind of maybe how you would expect it down the line. Uh, I think, it's a good spread of teams as well. Seeing a lot of different teams represented speaks to kind of some of the competitive parity we've had. A very clear top two with Misfits and Caster Curse, right? But the fact that we are getting names from all these other teams in the top three, I think speaks to the quality of players through the league and the fact that, some people have shown up. A lot of people have really improved with a lot of new names showing face in this set of all stars. No qualms from me. I know you're going to
I'm
probably
back.
drop the announcement in the chat, right? Yeah, there it is. Perfect. Uh, so congrats to all the players, super deserved, voted on by the peers. So, take your flowers and excited to see if this kind of sparks any further playoff shenanigans, whether it's bad blood or, you know, people getting fired up over some rankings or wanting to defend their title there. I think it's a pretty good list. And please remove that face palm next to your mid lane announcement.
yeah. Uh, I do agree. I think all the teams that were represented um, did very well, and I think everybody is also represented in the playoffs as well as far as all the all-star selections. So definitely really well deserved there, and I think overall this split has been my favorite to just not only sit back and watch, even though I did participate in it, but I felt like every team down the home stretch was really scrimming. There was a lot of activity in there, and they've all been like working to try and make a push for playoffs. Lux being included in here. I know Worms dropped a few games down the road, but now, they're 1-1 now, and Sac even making a lot of momentum there. They're represented as well. So, yeah, I agree. I think the the spread of teams and players kind of speaks for the league. So,
Both teams are ready
Yeah.
now for draft.
all right, I will let you guys go back to being the goats that you are, and yeah, I'll sit back and enjoy the rest of the series, gentlemen.
All
Sweet.
right.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, let us
Thanks
know
for
if you
coming
want to
in.
jump in, but thanks for the announcement.
All right. Here we go. Game 3 draft. We are 1-1. Ezreal Band comes out once again.
Yeah, it is going to be switching sides for these guys here, I think. Not really a big surprise. I like that call. Switch it up. Worms on the red side now. I think, things have been working well for them draft-wise. These solo laners, and especially in that top lane. A bit of a surprise, right? Cole the Meek kind of holding his own against what was just announced as the third team All-Star in Baikel. So we'll see how things flow there, and if Lux, maybe they're deciding to go for a more earlier power pick. I don't really know what's available and what they would maybe want here. I think things like a Corki's open for 2 coins if they want to go AD, but other than that, maybe just a jungle power pick.
There's the Amumu B1. This has been a very strong jungler in this league. Very easy to execute. A lot of threat onto the back line.
Yeah, I think that's going to be just a solid pick, right? We've seen it throughout the league, and I think it's just a really solid pick because of how easy it makes your team fighting, and that has been kind of the name of the game these past 2 games is, okay, who can get themselves on comfortable footing in these 5v5s, whether that's flanks or just front to back, and Amumu's going to make that really easy. You just go in with that bandage toss, curse the sad mummy, massive AoE ulti, and so expecting to see some of those good engages out of Beavis. Has been okay at finding these angles in. And the answer on the other side is going to be Gangplank Sivir for, I assume, top lane and ADC.
I think Lux is positioning for some full-on aggression with the Ahri. Amumu. They're going to be probably looking for some dives bot. And this Sivir will be vulnerable once you get past that spell shield. There's the Leona. Now, Minus does not have his Tristana open.
Yeah, I
But
think pretty
Corki is
interesting
still in
here.
option.
I kind of misspoke. It is more likely to be the GP mid, huh? Knowing Marth here. Nameplate's off, that's top lane, but GPR1 probably mid, and I would like it mid here as well. Into Ahri, I think that's a pretty comfortable matchup as long as you don't get too poked out. You can just cleanse away, remove scurvy of any charm, and that's most of Ahri's at least kill threat. And then on the side of the Sivir, I think that's just looking for a comfortable blind pick. If you're 7, should be able to, based off how the series is going, I'll say lose lane gracefully, just sit back and wave clear, and then buy time for your team to really scale up. You're going to have that on the hunt to buff up things like that Udyr that was picked on 3 as an answer into that Leona support. Second phase of bans coming through, though, Yone and Gwen, and we'll see what rounds it out.
There's the Corki ban, which is the answer I was talking about. I think that is what Minus was going to look for there. But there still are a lot of things you can pick into the Sivir. Misfortune is still up. Lucian, Kog'Maw, Vayne, I would say.
Now we're
Can
talking.
even go something like Twitch. I think Twitch here would be so scary.
Definitely something that can pump up the damage, I think, is the big thing there. Minus got quite a solid pool, so I don't think there's any concerns there. It's just a matter of what direction they want to take. Something like the Twitch, as scary as it can be, that does kind of warp the game around you. You got to play a little differently. And into the Karma with that poke that you may have to deal with. We'll see if that kind of changes the angle they're looking for too. Gonna be Gragas though. Never mind the karma.
Gragas, yep, comes out. That gives them a bit of disengage.
Yeah, I'm a little. I think Worms may be doing some flexing. I feel like that's probably a Gragas top, just a blind Gragas top. Can't imagine you're gonna want that support. Uh, and this just kind of, as a Gragas pick, gives you something safe to lean back on into any potential skirmishing picks. It usually is good at neutralizing. And it's, again, the way the series has been going, Coldemik has absolutely owned that top side. So this should hopefully give you some stable options
Lux
through that.
opting for the Jhin, which gives Lux the opportunity to sort of focus the top side a little more than usual. Help out this Cho'Gath. And now we'll see support
Yeah,
coming out of Worms. I do like that they saved it for R5.
I agree with that. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the Jhin though. I feel like the way Lux's games have been going, you want to try to slam something that can, you want to throw down the gauntlet and give yourself at least a chance to carry the game. That non-pick is going to be a Morgana, by the way. So with the Morgana, I think you're really playing for anti-Leona here. I'm not necessarily a huge fan of Morgana support. I think I tend to like other more traditional supports a bit better, but in this game you can see the value that it can bring as long as you're on point with the spell shields. Leona's not really going to be able to make much happen, at least in lane. You would think between a spell shield on the Morgana and a spell shield on the Sivir, and then you're really just playing to scale. I feel like maybe Marth on this pocket pick GP can make something happen. And then late game, you just got to be strong enough to survive what is going to be a very potent dive from the Digital Church.
Yeah, if there's one thing Lux has, it's lockdown. And so I think I do like the Morgana pick here. I think it will prove useful. You're not allowing the Leona Jhin a reliable way in.
Agreed. Yeah. I just have a little bit of hesitation over where the damage is coming from. I think traditionally it would come from Sivir, but it's going to be on 7 to really keep himself in the game and get off the ground, which is something we haven't really seen too much of, at least through the first 2 games. I feel like most of that load has been carried through the top side, and on something like the Gragas, I just don't know if you're going to garner yourself the same lead that you were in other games. Souls on the Udyr, maybe he can get some snowballing going as well. I just think it's a little interesting to see, okay, who's actually going to be pumping out the damage early on for Worms. But the way they've been scaling, maybe it doesn't matter.
This is super brawly from both sides.
Oh, agreed. Yeah, we're in for a banger for sure. I don't think there's a clear. I don't give a clear advantage to either comp. I feel like both have a good chance to play it. I think it's a little more bursty on the side of Lux with all that CC you talked about and the catch potential. But if a fight goes long, if Marth can find the barrel angles and if Sivir has the uptime to hit, then these long fights are going to be in favor of Worms. It's just going to be a matter of how that actually plays out. Can you get these spell shields off? Can you get that disengage with the Gragas off in time from Lux? Or maybe Lux doesn't even find the angle in, you snap them out. Or does Beavis alongside, Baikel and Druzy, just this massive dive in, are they able to find the carries, the backline of Worms with all these really potent teamfight ultis? It's going to be the question to ask, but still a ways away from that. You know, I think talking on the early game, how do you feel about these bot lane matchups with the Sivir into Jhin, and specifically with Morgana and Leona playing into that?
I think Sivir Morgana should have a pretty easy laning phase. The Sivir should be able to scale until Lux has the ability to send a lot of numbers down there. So hopefully they can keep the vision up and avoid any ganks and dives. But I think Lux as a team comp, they have more catch potential. They have easier engages. I think they have more beef. And I think this Ahri will be the most difficult thing for Sivir to deal with.
Yes. I think agreed. It's going to be tough for Sivir to actually get onto Ahri and hit her, but at least for the lane, should be comfortable. You know, just press your W ricochets and clear the wave. I imagine it's going to be a bit of a quote unquote handshake lane. And unless junglers come down to break that up, just both teams kind of trading back and forth. Just because on the side of Leona and Druzy, it's going to be tough to get an engage off, knowing you're going into two different avenues of spell shields, and potentially leaving yourself susceptible to a lot of return damage. So Druzy probably got to be a little careful with how aggressive they play that. And then I'd expect jungler focus to be kind of elsewhere on the map, maybe around the mid lane, maybe around top lane, because we've seen a lot of scrapping there, just to try to get your front line off the ground, because we're talking these team fights and how that's going, and having a set solid front line for that is a big difference maker in the team fight stage of the game. There's the streamer delay gone, so we should be getting into game shortly here.
Cleanse on the Sivir, exactly what you want to see.
It's just tough if you're a Leona. Like, how are you ever CCing the Sivir? I don't really know. I mean, jump on her. She got one spell shield for herself. She got Morgana spell shield. She got cleanse. And then, yeah, you know, Niftu Cow is pointing it out in chat. This GP is going to have the orange as well. Udyr has an unstoppable. There's so much CC peel that they have available for themselves that they can use, and I think it'll be an interesting set of skill expression going later in the game with, you know, how Druzy navigates it. Doesn't want to necessarily kill themselves jumping in on an engage, but also how these spell shields are actually used. Like, can you utilize it on a good ability to, you know, be okay surviving through an initial burst, but then what if something else comes up over top? Like an Amumu ulti, you're going to want some cleansing abilities available for that. So my eyes will be watching how those abilities are used through the game.
I think the easiest way for them to get on this Sivir is with the Amumu. Multiple instances of CC, and does a lot of magic damage to burn through the black shield. I wonder if
Yeah, that's a good point. It's
a lot of ADCs are putting any value on the tenacity shard and the runes.
Yeah, I don't know. Are you able to view like that secondary tree in the runes at all?
I don't believe so.
Some trading in the top lane.
Oh my.
Oh!
Didn't quite catch
And
that.
back in the bot lane too.
Druzy CC'd for a while, but is pretty tanky.
There's the remove Scurvy into the charm. I think that matchup's going to be pretty comfortable for Marth as long as he's not poked out by those other Ahri orbs too much. But in the top lane, I mean, once again, Cole the Meek just getting the better of his counterpart in Baikel. A lot closer this time, I will say. I think Baikel had the angle for the kill, just a fraction of a second off. And the minions pushing the Chob for the Gragas. I mean, top lane is already off to a great start for the Worms.
Wisconsin really low on mana. Does have TP for a quick return though.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to blow it necessarily that early. And I think something to point out this game as well, Soul's on the Udyr, as opposed to the last 2 games, a lot quicker on the clear, so is first to the scuttle, and it does have the potential to cross over for a double scuttle as Calico gets engaged on.
And that's no black shield left for 7. He's low on mana. Flash comes out from Druzy, and that's a kill going over to Minus already. 3 minutes in, and we're finding a kill onto the Sivir that was supposed to be unkillable in this early game.
Yeah, I think a big part of that, you think back to, it was about a minute and a half ago when Druzy found an early engage onto 7. It was when he got kind of chunked down afterwards, but 7 actually burned the cleanse during that, despite the fact that Morgana's spell shield was on him. And so that, I think, made the difference there, because getting flashed after by both this Amumu and the Leona CC coming in, doesn't have that next cleanse available. Morgana had to use the spell shield on herself. And so, great little angle that Druzy and Beavis were able to find for Lux, despite the fact that, on paper, it was a very tough kill to actually land themselves. Double scuttle going over for Souls as well while that was happening in the bot lane.
Little angle for Baikel to return some damage. Another knockup will hit, and Cull is left very low. The minions doing their best to kill him. Baikel does not have flash, but Poldamik is a little bit cornered here. And Cull just barely not able to do the damage.
Yeah, doesn't get the cask off. So finally a return kill for Baikel coming in. Getting his revenge in game 3 here of the series. In the mid lane as well, want to point out that Marth did have to burn the flash thanks to a bit of a 3-man gank party coming in onto the gangplank. Still just some even farming back in the bot lane. Now Sivir is down, I think mostly due to that kill, but relatively stable, only 10 CS down, not as bad as what we saw in the other games, but Calico getting caught out.
Coco has the black shield, but still needed to flash. 7 are looking for a little bit of return damage. That could have been pretty nasty if Beavis was able to land that bandage toss.
Yeah, and early Dragon once again getting started, but GP ulti comes in and fight's gonna break out.
Souls and Martha are here. Souls is going straight for Minus, but has to back out. Calico lands this snare onto Druzy, and that'll be a kill for them. That looked really, really good for Lux for a second.
Not able to get it off, and now Drake's gonna go over to the Worms. And that is a rare sight in this series so far. Pretty sure almost all the dragons have been on the side of Lux in game 1 and game 2. So a nice pickup here for the side of Worms, getting on the board with a dragon, and they got themselves a nice little 500 gold lead.
Minus stuck in lane here with not much health, not much mana.
Yeah, if you're 7 in Calico, you want to try to keep this Jhin here, keep the push going. Great spell shield. Bit of a waste on the double spell shield. That's going to be something that they need to figure out as this game progresses, because those abilities are pretty long cooldowns, and knowing how aggressive Druzy can be as a support, you don't want to give him that angle and that okay button, per se, of him to go in because both spell shields are down. But gank coming in the top lane.
Souls looking for the counter gank. Engage on the Calico, but nothing will happen. Beavis still looking He land an engage on the Souls, but he just has to walk out. Michael is not healthy enough for this.
Flash out from Michael. Saw Wisconsin on the Ari, actually roaming down a little bit, looking for some action. Just trying to bail this Jhin out. You mentioned, no mana and not much health either. But looks like the Jhin is going to be able to get a recall off. Calico decided to recall, going for that same play as usual, making the roam. And, in situations like these, I get doing the same thing over and over again. But here's something where, okay, is this really the play? You're not really accomplishing anything up here. You already have numbers. But just sticking around for good measure. And that'll be something, that's 3 games now doing the same exact pattern. It's good back timing, but is that something that, either Lux or potentially another team can pick up on and look to adapt around? It's time to roam. They're not going to lose anything for it, and Sivir's just going to recall. Bot lane kind of goes back into that stable point of game. It is 1-1, Mojo.
Yeah, they had the prio, they had the ability to recall if they wanted, but in that case, I think it's just better to try to get your Sivir either a kill or at least back caught up on farm, because at the state that lane was in, Minus sort of had to choose what wave he wanted to drop in order to go base, but now he's found his base. Calico has been gone for a while, and Minus has found a plate or two.
You're kind of back even now, and when you're playing the Sivir, you want to just keep pushing it, do with the lead what you can. It's cold to meat trading in the top side, but it's going to be the standard beefy meatballs going at it, not really exchanging much damage, and a lot of sustain up in that top side on both sides as well, so would be shocked if it kind of crests over to the threshold of a full solo kill again. Souls halfing up, it looks like, as Beavis is in that tri-bush area, potentially looking for an angle. But Soul's sniffing it out too, so we could have a 3v3 breakout as Druzy goes in. Fight breaks out.
Druzy finds it. Oh my, and that black shield blocks everything. Calico's able to flash out, still has the tether onto Beavis. Soul's still just burning. The Jhin ult comes out. He's made the distance he needed, but Druzy's all alone, and 7 is just running forward now. Flashes forward onto Minus, and he's just going to out-damage him. That's a triple kill going to the Sivir.
Yeah, great play out of the Worms bottom lane. Bot side there with Souls sticking around, maybe sniffing out. Yeah, this is a bit of a gank angle. And, Beavis jumps in alongside Druzy, but the Speller Fields come in, the Cleanse come in, and they're able to stay alive. And then I think one of the big difference makers in that fight was Marth and the GP ulti coming in over top. Leona and Amumu were just sitting in that. Jhin had to flash out to avoid taking too much damage. Ooh, Cole. No, it doesn't quite find it.
Not quite enough to lock down the kill.
Jhin looking for damage on the backside of that fight, just only has the ulti to offer, and that's not going to stack up to something like an Udyr and a Sivir wailing away on your front line. And then 7 flashing forward aggressively to find the triple, and now all of a sudden, for the first time this series, you really have your bottom lane in B7 in a really strong spot. This time, maybe looking to flip the script on Minus, the second team all-star AD carry in this Herald League regular season, but Charm caught up, no more action. So yeah, eyes are going to be on 7 now and how this Sivir can potentially carry these next few fights. Second dragon up and started.
The one thing you didn't want as Lux is for this Sivir to be fed, and that's exactly what's happened. Now they have a firm control over this dragon pit. They're just going to get that uncontested. Beavis looks, but there is nothing to be found there.
Picking that up pretty comfortably. I mean, just not really in a spot to contest this stage of the game. The GP scaling up nicely too, and you can see the Sivir, just able to walk up, press W on the wave, and that thing is now gone with one item. Cole's going to cash in soon. And I think Worm's just going to continue to look to snowball. It's already a 3k gold lead for them, kind of spared out all around the map. But Michael trading aggressively in the top side.
Oh man. Cole found himself without his movement ability. The E just slightly mistimed. Could have easily been a kill for Michael. Cole going in again. Quick in and out trades. Very nice for him when he can find them.
Good call, but Beavis is up in the area now. No flash on the Gragas. That could be a punishable angle for Lux. In comes the Amumu.
This is completely unavoidable. Koldamik is just dead.
A good loop around from Beavis there. Marth looking for the barrel, doesn't quite find it. But that's going to be once again a nice kill onto what has been a very strong top lane for the side of Worms. Script's getting a little bit flipped in this game 3, and you like to see it, where Worms, they're probably going to have to win through this bottom lane more so than their top lane, and vice versa on the side of Lux, where 2 coins, on this Jhin isn't really in a powerful carry spot like he has been in the last 2 games.
I think it was a comfort pick. On paper, you do have that range on Sivir, but you do not have range when your support matchup is Leona versus Morgana. So it hasn't been able to abuse that range. Oh, beautiful flash out from Michael.
Yeah, he actually buffered the Udyr stun as well. Udyr flashing forward, looking for that. So trade of flashes, well done from Michael, forcing that out. And Worms are going to turn towards the Herald. No one around to contest. Should be an easy secure. Getting traded on. This is like, one of my biggest gripes seeing Calico in the series here is a lot of these roams, it's good intention behind it, but, one of the things as a support player, you need to think about why you're roaming and what's actually being accomplished with the roam and what your presence offers, because a few times, especially we see it there, he leaves the bottom lane and that leaves your AD carry alone to take a shellacking, and you really don't accomplish anything on the other side of the map, at least in these last few occasions where your presence wasn't the difference between the objective being taken or not. And so I think you're kind of just throwing away the lead you've really built for yourselves. You have this 3-in-1 Sivir. You guys can stand in and take the fight and at least keep Sivir alive, continuing to wail away at these towers. So just a small little nitpick there, but looking in the mid lane, that is a solo first tower down to the GP. I think Wisconsin's playing the map a little too much.
Combo lands on the bike.
So
He's taking
nice
a lot of
pickup
damage
there.
from this tower, but I don't think that'll be a kill. Druzy finds himself caught here by Souls. Beavis comes in. It's too late though. Druzy is dead. 7 really low here. Can Minus find the kill on him? He won't. There are too many members now of Worms here, and that'll be another kill. Going over to Souls. Wisconsin also caught out here. That'll just be another kill. Staying too long.
Goodness. Yeah, Marth is just first on the play there, and Souls once again with a great read on the map. Recognizes, hey, there's probably going to be a fight that breaks out here, and this time he's the one who pulls it off. Calico pulling up alongside him, and at this point, Souls, he has the Shojin and the Merc treads, able to just walk them down. 7 barely staying alive too. Flashing out towards the top side of the map to reposition, still get some damage out, but the action's not stopping.
Michael's here though, and everybody is low on the side of Worms. This Sivir is not doing a lot of damage yet to the tankier members of Lux, but Marth is still here. Beavis may be a little bit late. 7 still low on mana. His His spell shield is down now, and it looks like Lux have control over this. They grab the Drake.
Wow, yeah, heads up play from Lux. They TP in, they bring the whole squad in, knowing that Worms haven't quite recalled, and so using that kind of superior tempo play, despite the fact that, you know, they may be down 7k gold, but there's no recalls on the side of Worms after that massive fight, so they're able to at least secure the dragon, pick up an objective bounty for themselves, and hopefully look to stall this game out just a little bit longer with the pickup of that Ocean Drake. Michael settling down a little bit more comfortably in this top side as well. You know, every time the camera pans up here, it looks like
Oh, the
finally
root
him
hits.
getting
The
push. Root
dodge
connects.
was predicted. Minus really low, but Seven finds himself. Oh, okay. Marth with the ult comes down onto the Jhin, finishing off the kill. Where Seven found himself a little bit worried that somebody was going to be there to reverse the engage on him.
Yeah, he had the spell shield though, but I mean, it all works out. Marth drops the cannon barrage over top, and with that sweet spot ulti, it drops instantly. Flash just too late for -2 points. You can see Marth dominating in this side lane. Triple barrel combo. It's that GPR1 comfort pick coming through for the mid laner of Worms. He's just gonna be able to walk down this tower. Yes, Leona's in the area, but it's gonna be a Moo that needs to be there to really make the
Set up the engage from Beavis. It's going to be a kill onto Marth. By the way, you cannot forget. Well, first of all, that's a huge shutdown going to Jhin.
Yes,
That's
like
going
how
to
they
help
do
a
this, Jhin.
ton. But you can't forget how strong this GP is going to be later in the game. You know, we've been talking a lot about the Sivir, but GP is this late game, like, you have to be thinking about him all the time or you're getting one shot by a barrel.
Yeah, and I mean, Martha's been
Navigating
navigating the
is
barrel
looking for a
game
fight.
really
Seven
well.
and Souls are here to follow up. Michael uses the flash early, but it's too late. The kill goes over to Call the Meek.
Yeah, great explosive cast there. And talking a little bit more on GP, you know, he's been doing great in that earlier dragon fight. A lot of barrels connecting for a lot of damage. Side lane doing very well too. Cannon barrage there to force him out, and Souls wants more.
They're looking for a minus. He's separated from his team right now. The snare lands onto Souls. May just be what has saved him here. I'm surprised that Seven didn't pick up that tower up there.
Yeah, I think just getting a little nervous about a bigger fight breaking out, decides to roam on down just to make sure he is in the area if something more were to break out. But you know, I think if you're Worms, you're on a good spot where you can set the fight on your own terms. So if you want to play through the side lane through Marth, who I mentioned is scaling up, already has 2.5 items. That is a whole item above Ahri. Gonna dominate the side lane. No one can really match him. They have to bring 2 or 3 to shut him down. You have Sivir to hold things down in the mid lane. Gragas is pretty stable. So they have kind of all the chips on their board now. Dragon up in a minute 20. We'll see how they decide to play that, whether that's through side lane or through some aggressive mid lane engage run at them between Sivir and Udyr. Picking the side lane. Cannon Garage coming on down. Like the rest of Lux,
Not
maybe
very
looking to
tanky
protect.
right now. The ultimate comes out. Oh, okay. Wait, Druzy ulted his teammate. Sick. But the binding comes on to Beavis, and he will fall. Soul's still running forward. Minus is in a very tough spot here. Oh, gets just about one shot by the barrel, and he's just dead. Druzy also gonna die. Oh my. Yep, I was talking about the gangplank. And I'm trying to...
It's a 22-minute ace.
I'm trying to say this guy dies, but I don't even have enough time.
Still 20 seconds on the death timers. They're looking for more. Okay, they will call it off. Not going to overplay their hand too much as Dragon is up. But yeah, massive fight. I mean, GP has arrived. Marth's pocket pick here. R1 on the Gangplank mid. Just landing that huge crit onto 2 coins. I certainly wasn't able to keep track of that barrel. Jin wasn't able to do so in that case. He's going to secure him an inhib, an ace, and the Drake, and balloon their gold lead up to over 13K. Sending a few more recalls. And now they should just need to march it in. One more fight like that should seal the deal, Bird.
Right now, it doesn't seem that the Worms are too worried about a Snake Baron. Soul's just taking his time on his bottom side. The Lux will have setup. Kolamik looks like he may just be dead here. The ult lands, but he's still really close to Druzy. The slows will come through, the knockups will come through.
On me?
Oh, the
he's
other
out.
side.
Here comes
But
the squad.
Souls is here, Seven is here, Calico is here, they're all here. And they just lost track of where all of the Worms were. Down with Michael. Down with Druzy. And Beavis will soon follow, I think. This is their end angle if they want it. But no. They're going to go for Baron instead. Now that I think about it, they have quite a bit to push. And the death timers actually aren't very long right now. A little over 30 seconds.
We're still early enough, and with the TP only on the Gragas, there really isn't an end angle there. So secure the Baron, and now is when you start to march towards the end. You have a great siege setup here with just the sheer gold lead you have. That was kind of the Hail Mary coming out of Lux. I respect it, you know, hey, try to get this pick on the side lane, but tanky Gragas, Kolamik, kind of floating around there, using those body slams to navigate himself out of a sticky situation and the rest of the team just collapsing. Souls really leading the charge there. 5-0-13 on this Meteor. 18 out of 20 KPs, just been everywhere. And now with the Baron in tow, should be able to just march it down to 7. Gonna walk up, not too much wave clear between a Jin and an Ahri. So unless they can find a miracle fight.
But Beavis will find an engage onto 7. He just went up a little bit too far, a false sense of security. And Beavis is dead too. Now this may be their end angle as Cull goes forward trying to find Druzy. Wisconsin lands the charm, trying to do anything to save his teammate. Will ult back in desperately, but will not be able to survive. Never mind. Okay, picks up the 1,000 gold shutdown. And now Baikel's here, sort of just standing there menacingly. Okay. I'm really surprised that Wisconsin lived. But this may just be the death of him, as Marth is just marching forward. He's a fast boy. Has to flash out. Baikel, kind of a beefcake right now. But they provide the space for Minus to come up. Looks for the ult, and barely finds it. Holy. Okay, just barely. Lux is able to hang on to this game for a little bit longer.
Yeah, a lot to break down there. I think the Amumu kicking things off on Beavis, you know, 7 not really respecting, not necessarily 7, but the whole of Worms not really respecting the fact that this Amumu could be in these sneaky little bush angles, so no wards. Beavis finding himself that nice engage, blows up 7 at the start of the fight, and you think, okay, maybe that's that miracle fight we were talking about. But in comes Marth, one taps Minus. I mean, that was, I think, one barrel that did probably 1,500 damage, almost the entire health bar of the Jin. Gragas is able to finish it off, and then the chase down comes with Souls just barreling through the tower. Somehow Wisconsin gets out, lands the charm, and kind of spirit rushes out of there. And so that is just able to keep the game alive long enough. They can only get 2 inhibs, but still at this stage of the game, with Ocean Soul coming in soon enough. You have this Udyr, you have the Gragas. It is all but sealed, and you know, you don't like to say it, supposing as we're supposed to be kind of that neutral third-party broadcast, but you know, if I'm Lux, I'm starting to think, okay, what type of adaptations are we making with this match on the line, and a likely game 4 coming up, staring down a 1-2 deficit?
Well, the way that all of that started is 7 was too far up on that mid wave. But if that doesn't happen, I don't see a way of you finding any fight that you want as Lux.
Agreed. I mean, gold lead is almost 15,000. We are still less than 30 minutes in, so maybe you go for just a suicide steal attempt here.
Beavis will
going
find
in.
his way in. Michael and Wisconsin soon to follow. Calico's low, has to flash out. Beavis is dead though. Michael is going to be dead here pretty soon. 7 still alive. They have to get out. They tried for the steal.
They got it.
Oh wow, they got it. Oh, okay. Well, they got the steal, but with both of your front line, or sorry, 2 out of the 3 of your front line dead, there's not much you can do to defend against this push, as all 5 members of the Worms are still alive.
One tower
The
up.
root will come out
Comes
onto
Cole.
Druzy. And this is just the end of the game. Only Druzy left. The towers both fall. The Nexus soon to follow. And that is game 3 going over to the Worms. And honestly, I think at least my expectation was, considering the form of each of these teams, I thought Lux had a big advantage in this matchup. But the Worms are showing, you know, we still got it in us. And they're playing, honestly, pretty well around their win cons.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, they're drafting well, and they're executing around those drafts beautifully. I mean, Gangplank definitely star of the show here, but really everyone on the team, you know, after a pretty close game 1 and game 2, that was a dominant game 3 coming out from Worms. So gonna see how they take that momentum going forward. You know, playing on that underdog story, that always kind of helps alleviate some pressure as you go into these long series. And if I'm, you know, Lux in this game 4, is once again adjustments. How do we get coins in a better spot to carry? This is kind of your main man on the team, and you see it there. It's just when you're on something like the Jhin and the rest of the lanes aren't really accomplishing anything, you can't get anything off the ground. So that's the adjustment I want to see come through, you know, as we get into game 4 draft. Looks like it's going to happen pretty quickly here, as sides already selected. I'm going to step away for a little bit, grab a quick bite. Feel free
Sounds
to
good.
continue. I should be back by the time the game starts.
Okay. I know Minus's pool is deeper than he's shown. So I'm not sure why they opted for Jhin if they weren't going to get support counter pick. What's up, guys? How we doing? I haven't been looking at chat much. "21 people in chat. None of them want to tell me how they're doing. It's okay, I see." Ben, I'm gonna dox you. All right, we're gonna hop into game 4 draft. The score is 2-1 for Worms, who find themselves on blue side this game. Feos, I'm doing all right. All things considered. Can't complain too much. Oh yeah, congrats on All-Stars too. Second team. A misfortune B1 for Worms. Not a bad ADC blind. They'll take away the Nautilus pairing. And an Fury is going to be locked in. This is a power pick we haven't seen too much of, at least not to my memory. We'll see how Worms responds. It's very clear they're going for dive. They go with the Rel. Counter pick into Nautilus. And also just a very good pairing with Misfortune. Corki comes out. To be expected here. Powerful with the Nautilus. Has that dash to get out of the J4 ultimate. The Jarvan value here is questionable, as we don't have either solo lane showing on the Lux side, so they have the ability to counterpick it, pick something with mobility, and the Corki, a comfort pick for minus, and able to get out of that Cataclysm. Malphite comes out. More dive potential onto this Misfortune. But it is blind top. Nivea mid will come out for Lux as there are 5. I don't have an entirely strong pull towards either side here, but I think it is very hard for the Jarvan to find value with his Cataclysm. Only really on mid is the only lane he can get much. This Malphite does have 2 immobile targets that he can go on to at any point in the game. Worm's going very heavily into the Misfortune, making sure that she is going to have an angle to find a good ultimate. But it's up to Lux to execute their dive, which they have a lot of. Malphite, Neferi, Nautilus, so many ways to get onto Misfortune. We're hoping that the other members of the Wormies will be able to peel. Two minutes 40 seconds left on this spectator delay. Here we are.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift. Minions have spawned.
Dude, this might find himself caught out here. Soul's not able to continue.
I'm the happiest girl in the world.
Druzy finds an early engage. They're going to find a bit of damage on the Calico. Not all that much, though. They do find this early push. Michael already pretty low on mana. Druzy finds another in. Calico very, very chunked now. Now the worms do not have much wiggle room in this bot lane. Calico hook again, minus. Doesn't commit too hard. Minus playing a little more careful here, knowing that Jarvan is bot side. They do have vision in the tri-brush. They're going to spot him out now. Michael continues to take a beating up in this top lane. Soul's finding an engage onto Beavis, finds himself a little bit too far forward. Marth, very low on mana though, will not be able to stun him up. Calico has to burn her heal. Calico is taking hook after hook, but importantly, 7 is still healthy, but the hook narrowly misses there. You just, as 7, cannot find yourself on the same side of the lane as Druzy. Calico with a quick counter engage on Druzy, but he's so, or sorry, she is so low that it's very hard to find anything here. Corki able to match the early power of the misfortune. Nexus, if you're back, and in case you don't know, you are muted.
I'm back, sorry. Take
Let's
care of
go.
a few things.
All good.
Looks like a pretty slow early game so far. I like the draft out of both teams, I will say. Nice and explosive bot lanes. Got Nautilus Corki into Realm Misfortune. That's a massive team fight. I think giving Cole the Meek something with some carry potential on Zehen. Pretty solid pick, and it's already working dividends. I mean, this lane has just been going so smooth for the top laner of the Worms all series long. Got Marth doing well into Wisconsin as well. You know, I think Anivia's fine scaling there, but you can get the lead as the Syndra, especially looking at the rest of the team. These are going to be two very fun team fight comps, I think is the exciting part. Whoever can get that first engage is going to be in a great spot, but for now, first Drake going over to Lux. Good pickup for them.
They are on red side again, and I think every game so far this series has been very heavily favored in terms of Drakes for the red side. Wisconsin has to flash out. I don't think that TP was intentional. Calico finds a counter engage, is able to chunk down minus a bit with 7. They're not too unhappy about that, but they are both chunked.
Yeah, and that is going to be 7 summoners burned. Wisconsin as well. Little 6-pack technique. Marth mind controlled. Probably just a misclick, but regardless, does get out of there safely, but that's going to hurt knowing you don't have that teleport to get back. And on the bot side, you know, 2 coins and Druzy doing what they do, building up a little bit of a lead, but definitely not as much as we've seen them do in some other games. You know, I think Calico and 7, they're doing well stabilizing. Summoners had to be burned there, but once they crest over to 6, they really do have some solid combat potential. It's ulti on the top side.
Engage on the Cole the Meek. Michael does not have much mana, but it's not going to matter. Cole the Meek burns flash. We'll see if Beavis can finish off the kill. And in fact, it didn't matter. Cole the Meek has the revive. If he is to die here, Marth and Souls and Calico now following up. Beavis has to flash out. Marth barely not able to pick up the kill. I'm surprised Cole lived there.
Yeah, me too. I mean, wasn't really buffering anything with the ult. He just kind of walked on out. Beavis just not enough damage. I'm a little surprised Beavis lived there as well. Marth flashing in, finding the scatter the weak stun, but Beavis able to flash out from any follow-up damage. And hey, surprise, surprise, 8 minutes in, once again, Calico is on the map roaming. This time, doesn't look like there's going to be anything suffered on the other side of the map, so they secure the 3 grubs. Yet again, Worms have been doing that every single game of the series and doing it well. Yes, 2 coins get some plates on the other side of the map, but as long as 7 can stay alive, another net positive coming out from the Worms early on.
Nice. Looking Druzy with the ultimate. This may be the death of 7, and it is. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Souls finds the Cataclysm onto Wisconsin. He still has Egg, but I don't think he'll be able to get out of this one as Marth uses the ult, locks up the kill.
Yeah, good trade of kills there. I think 7 just playing a bit disrespectfully. You know, once again, you know your support's making these roams, and you don't know where Druzy is on the map. You can see just how their entire red side jungle is covered with red wards, not blue wards. So you're walking up way too far knowing you don't have any sums. It's an easy lockdown for a Nautilus. Just presses that ultimate Riptide, and Minus has the damage to follow up from there. On the other side, in the mid lane, good gank coming out from Souls into that flashless Anivia. Finding the kill, so at least the Worms can answer something back. Keep the gold state relatively even, and let themselves continue to scale into we've all mentioned is going to be some fun late game team fights. I mean, it's just such a massive gold lead for Cold and Meek. I haven't really been paying too much attention to some of these games. Did you expect to see Cold and Meek kind of perform this good into Baikel?
I did not at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's really shocking. I feel like it's what has really turned the series on its head. You know, Baikel's usually a very reliable top laner, and really just gotten the better of this series. Was the Malphite a counter pick as well?
It was not. That was a blind, actually. So
Okay, so that's a little good.
Marth
Marth getting
finds
hooked.
himself caught out here, trying to get a little bit of poke damage onto Druzy. He's just dead. Beavis has enough burst to finish him off.
TP coming in.
The Misfortune ult will just be there, I guess. And Druzy finds himself caught up in Calico's ult and Soul's ultimate. Minus is not
Oh, he's
going to
turning
fall
it.
to Cold and Meek. He's gonna finish him off as that tower is ramped. That feels bad, and is now Minus is in a very comfortable spot.
Yeah, I mean, and that's really big for Baikel of all people too, because that was a TP down from the Zehen, so gonna have to walk all the way back, giving up a bunch of waves up there, and doesn't even get the kill, doesn't even force Flash out of the 14. And so, very nice play coming through from Lux to kind of give themselves a bit of life in this game. The Fury finding a kill, you want to be snowballing some kills onto this assassin-style jungler. And so, teaming up with Druzy to make that happen, using that Nautilus ult, following it up pretty cleanly with the Fury ult. Expect to see that combo come through a bunch more as Marth, still no flash, but Scout of the Week will be enough to get him out. And Dragon does go over to Worms though, so that's a nice pickup hit. And you see Cold and Meek's a level down. I mean, still up pretty decent amount. Lost chapter from Baikel, but he is trading back.
Baikel doing really respectable damage, and that'll just be a kill pickup for him, I believe. Yeah, with the only a lost chapter, he's doing a lot more damage than he was just a few minutes ago.
Yeah, and the Bramble Vest prevents any big game coming over. Hook on the bot side.
7 is able to create enough space with the flash, but Calico getting really low, and now they're in a really rough spot.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much just tossed your entire top lane, unfortunately. If you're Cold and Meek, I mean, you had something going, and yes, you talk about the lack of items, but 2 levels up, or sorry, just 1 level up now for Baikel. So, pretty tough to then get solo killed. Yes, he has the Triforce, but you know, Malphite's eventually going to reach that point where you really can't pick on him in the side lane.
Marth and
He's just gonna have
Souls
so
are
much
closing in
armor.
on Wisconsin. As Flash, the
Flash.
Cataclysm is used. You still have Egg, and Marth a little bit late to this fight. Beavis is here to protect the Egg. Goes in on the Souls. Marth ultimate is used onto the Egg. Will get the kill. Beavis flashes to continue the fight onto Souls. He'll pick up the kill. But he's going to back out now. Marth has more health than him, and Call is on his way down to cover.
I think Druzy can just hook him here, and I imagine they'll come out on top.
I think so. He's just waiting for that overextension from 7, as he wasn't expecting the Nautilus to be sitting in the bush that long. Calico has to use the flash out just to survive.
Yeah, this is what you want to see out of the minus Druzy bottom lane. Finding these aggressive 2v2 kills. 7 just not really paying with enough respect to Druzy's Nautilus, who has consistently found these angles onto the 80 carry of the Worms. And you know, in a game state like this, with how top lane ended up shaking out, you don't necessarily have a top side that can
bail you out of this situation, at least for now. You know, they're going to scale up nicely, so that's kind of your hope. But just looking at the game state right now, okay, you're a flashless MF, and Corki is continuing to just scale up and be a menace. As he crashes over to 2 items, it's going to be interesting, but engage on the Beavis.
Souls finds Beavis in his own jungle. He's able to get out over the wall.
He does have
Misfortune
Cataclysm.
ultimate is
He's
burned,
chasing.
and the Cataclysm comes down onto Beavis. He has another way
Oh!
out.
One more flag and drag.
Souls
He's
had his
out.
engage coming up there, but he knew that Lux was going to be there soon, so he backs up.
Wow, and
-1.
that was flash from Marth burned as well. Yeah, -1. Make sure you don't forget that. Gotta do the caster Chris stuff. Flash burn from
-1
Marth as
versus
well. I mean,
-2.
that's crucial. Like, you're not gonna have Syndra with a flash. He's gonna be immobile, susceptible to that kind of Nautilus and a Fury combo, especially if she's sitting on the side lane. Cold and Meek trading on the top side. This Sehen is kind of back in more of a comfortable spot. He's building towards some MR. Michael needs to get poked before he really looks for any big engages.
Meek does have the item advantage, but he finds himself under tower, taking a bit more damage than he'd have liked. Will he look for a kill
The
here?
unstoppable force was used, so no ulti on the Malphite here. Oof.
Another tower shot comes out. Michael does have flash to look for this. He's going to.
Oh, the vision!
Oh, well played by Call.
Flashing forward to get the heal. I mean, navigating into the bush as well to prevent that initial seismic shard from coming through from Michael. And Cole the Meek finds the return kill. That Malphite ulti was used under tower earlier. Calico just gonna crash down out of that. So a nice kill coming over, and with Hextech Drake up, looks like both teams posturing towards that dragon. Michael does have TP in 10 seconds. No posturing. I don't think Beavis is spotted. Both
He
teams
is
kinda
now the
contesting.
teleport from Michael comes out. We have Call the
Call
Meek
the
on
Meek
a
on the
flank
bot
here.
side of the
They're
river.
gonna push him off the Drake into this choke point. They find the engage. They find the MF
Moment
ult.
time.
Now Beavis on the MF. He finds himself around 3 people, finds the kill on 2-7, but he's gonna fall shortly after, and minus his full health, looking for the cleanup kills. Marth will barely get out over the wall. Now it's minus versus Call. He's able to get out through the gate.
Just a great team fight coming out of Worms. Finding that initial engage between the Syndra stun, minus getting jumped down a bit.
Call the Meek may just die here.
The
Can he
ulti.
deal enough damage? Yes, he will have.
It's got passive. It's just back
That
to
was
full
not
health.
a shutdown, but you did kill the 5-0 Corki.
Yeah, and Dragon's up, right? So that's a big angle for Worms if they want to posture for this. You see Souls go into the Dragon. Going back to that initial fight, I mean, it was just a great engage. I think Marth was the one who found that 2-man stun. Kind of kicked things off with a Jarvan Cataclysm, then a Rail crash down, bullet time, all over top. And this whole time, you know, it wasn't necessarily tons of damage, but Michael still didn't have that Unstoppable Force ultimate, which is a big part of their team fighting ability. And I'll hold that thought as it looks like maybe a collapse coming in the top side. No ulti on
Beavis
Cole.
and Druzy coming in to find Call the Meek. This looks to be an easy kill, and it will be.
Yeah, just overplaying a little bit, but good punish from Beavis and Druzy. You want to see this support jungle really team up and continue to get kills on this Naafiri. That's how you're going to get yourselves through the mid game and continue to push the pace forward in your favor. But back to that dragon fight, yeah, it was kind of some heroics from Minus at the end there. Jumping in, finding some kills alongside Beavis in the backline, and Cole the Meek, you know, doing the same on the other side, finding the kill onto Anivia, and then finding the big kill onto Corki under tower, reviving, forcing Nautilus flash out. So big winners of that are going to be Worms as they pick up the Hextech Drake for their second Drake, and they also grab the Herald just before Baron spawns.
What I worry about is how consistently the Worms are going to be able to find engages like that. Like you said, the Unstoppable Force was down, and I think most of the time it should be really difficult to find something like that, as the Misfortune has to be free to ult there. So the fact that they found the first engage was very huge.
Yeah, and they're still down gold, you know, it's still 1.5k deficit. Anivia's pretty comfortable, and it's more so just this Corki is so far ahead, and he's got a pretty, not easy, but an easier time at least navigating these fights compared to some other games. You know, it's just a Jarvan dive, really, and you should be able to Valkyrie out of that. Speaking of Jarvan,
finds himself caught out. The egg's going to go down once again. This passive not proving to be very useful. Calico is looking for an engage in mid. 7 dealing the damage that he can. The ultimate is cancelled by Druzy, and now they turn. They go on to 7. He's too low to keep following up. Call the Meek. Looking for Beavis. Too risky to go in at the moment. 7 still alive. Still able to help clear the wave. The tower's going to go down anyway. Druzy prowling for anything, any angle. They have 4 members compared to Worms 2 on
Herald
this
is top side.
mid-wave here.
Yeah, they got a Herald in topside while all this is happening. You know, I think the play for Worms was, hey, you know, let's try to punish this splashless Corki, but Calico going in a bit too early. Souls and Cold Meek had not yet roamed through to the mid lane. And so they get punished instead. 7 gets bullet time canceled instantly by Druzy's hook. And yes, that Herald comes through in the top lane. I think that's the saving grace of that play, is get Mars some more gold on the Syndra with an outer tower and a crash into an inner tower. But it's still just the Corki show for the side of Lux. Level 12, 6-1 now. Again, keeping this incredible CS pace at 221, 22 minutes in. It's going to be the carry for Lux in all these upcoming team fights.
And as long as this Corki is this far ahead of the MF, you just can't look for 2v2 angles like that. It won't work out. They're going to find the turn onto 7, and they're going to outdamage him.
It's exactly like you said, right? Like, part of the reason that Dragon fight went so well for them was because they had an uninterrupted bullet time. And you see it there. I mean, you pop the bullet time, boom, it's instantly canceled. You have all this easy point-and-click CC on the side of Lux. It's going to be really tough for 7 to find the
finds himself caught out here.
Michael.
The knockup will land. Souls still has Cataclysm, but the Unstoppable Force is used.
Yeah, and tiny nitpick there as well. I'd rather see him use the Unstoppable Force first rather than the Flash. You know, it's functionally the same. It goes further. Flash forward! Oh. Marth finds the kill, and Souls isn't stopping. Actually,
here uses the Cataclysm. The uninterrupted bullet time again is going to separate all of Lux. The TP comes in from Marth. This is just an easy team fight win for the Worms. They're going to go down. This Drake comes up in 20 seconds.
Yeah, it's going to be some nice kills to help them establish prio. I gotta imagine they reset beforehand. But now they find themselves finally with a gold lead. And, you know, I think maybe the angle here is Syndra doesn't have flash. You still have this Malphite ult. It's going to be coming up shortly. Just have to get on the map. But no TP on the Malphite means if Worms start this up on spawn, it should be theirs, and they should be able to put themselves on soul point.
Been destroyed.
Beavis may be a bit caught out. Doesn't look like anything will result. So yeah, Baikel stayed in the top lane that entire time. Didn't have the TP. Sounds like the call was just to try to get more gold on this Malphite. Building towards that Sunfire. Should be nice to give him more of a tanky frontline appeal. This Cold Meek has found himself 4 kills. Syndra with 4 kills as well. Expecting the Worms to continue to play towards this 1-3-1 that's worked out well for them. As long as 7 and Calico can sit back and stay alive, it's been Worms with, you know, behind the direction of Souls, making these plays happen on the side lane, picking on the Anivia, picking on Baikel. But engage from Calico.
Minus is caught here, but there's nobody to follow up. Calico is probably just going to go down, has to flash out. Souls here to punish the overextension, perhaps. The bullet time will find Minus for the most part. He's able to flash out, though. Almost lives, but Souls is there to clean it up. Cole is here now. Michael has nothing he can really do. Beavis doing his best to at least be threatening, but now he may find himself dead as well. Souls opts not to continue chasing. They say, guys, let's just go for the Baron. Call the Meek, though. Different story. He's going to look for Beavis. The Cole will not find him.
Cole
And it
still
looks
has
like he's just
ulti,
gonna
so
walk out of
probably
this.
okay. They're not going to take Baron either.
They were very low. They're just going to base, look for another angle. But it is the only objective up for the next 3 minutes.
Yeah, that soul for them is not spawning for another 3 minutes. I do like how Worms are pushing this side lane pace though, right? They see someone and they just pounce, they go. In that case, it was a bit of an overextension, you know, Calico going way too early, even Soul's going a bit early. But the rest of the team is able to find the angle. Marth did get shut down, but it crucially went to Michael instead of someone like Wisconsin or the Corky. Engage, gonna find Druzy.
Druzy all alone here. Michael sort of just watching as it happens. Nothing he can do. Out of position now with the member down of Lux. Though it is the support, they have a massive advantage in pressuring this Baron. Kolomik still on the bot turret here against Wisconsin. He does not have TP though.
Really playing with fire
Getting
here.
really low.
I know he's got the healing and the passive, but like, man, that is a little close for my comfort. But you know, they're playing this game well. The pacing of it's working out fine. It's really them punishing Lux's missteps, and if they can continue to do so, there's no need to really force the matter. You can just keep playing this.
Wisconsin may find himself the
Ooh.
first kill. There it is. A shutdown onto Koldemeek. Yeah, just, I mean, I don't even know what to say about that. That was entirely avoidable. But Beavis finds himself caught here now by Souls, looking for any sort of vision. Will face check for it, but he's able to get out, has to burn the flash. Calico
Yeah, I think
gets out as well now.
that's a fine trade if you're the Jarvan. You know, Cataclysm will be up before this next dragon fight. Now you have a Fury with no flash. In the bot lane, I don't really know what that was. It was just Koldemeek playing, maybe a little bit of happy gaming, but nothing too much lost other than the gold. We'll see if that comes into play. Because, you know, you don't want other damage threats coming in besides this Corki. You have a very clear goal of kill the Corki, win the fight. Now, if Anivia gets strong, that kind of changes things a little bit. So, got to keep an eye on that. I don't think we're quite at that point yet. And the Zehen will have ulti and flash available for this upcoming dragon spawn. 30 seconds away. Red team does have positioning over it for now. Lux pushing in the mid lane. And we'll see how Worms decide to respond as Marth going towards the top lane but does have TP.
We find ourselves coming up to a soul fight again where Minus doesn't quite have his LDR. Druzy finds a flash over the
forward.
wall and ult onto 7. Beavis, everybody's going to go dive onto 7, and now they don't have this misfortune that they have drafted around. Lux finds what they needed, and I think this dragon is going to be theirs. A beautiful
Great
angle
pick
from
coming out of
Druzy.
Druzy. That was impressive, you know, just no hesitation, flashing over the wall to find it. Definitely not something that Worms expected. We saw a little bit of that in like out of the Amumu from Beavis with just these creative angles aren't really warded for. And the rest of the team wasn't there, right? Syndra was at the top side when that fight started. Zehen was in the bottom side. So even though it's maybe a bit of a commitment to then kill the Rel afterwards, there's no potential punish. So it's a clean 2-0. They take the Drake, and now they're in a spot just going to cross over to the Baron. Okay. Not going to quite start it yet.
They're looking for vision. They know that at this point, the worms are coming back up. They're positioning, knowing that Lux is looking for this Baron. Beavis avoids the snare. Martha's alone. Beavis won't pull the trigger quite yet. Lux is looking for a base.
Yeah, Big Bold really decided to pull the trigger there. All of Lux is going to back here, so there is an angle to Baron if they really want to push the tempo, look for a sneak here. They are going to go for it. Everyone on Lux is basing. They had gold from that earlier fight and the Dragon, and 5 members on the Baron. This is going to be melted, Bird.
Lux took too long to reset. They should have checked the Baron, based, and then challenged it. But they waited too long. They had to back up. They had to base. And that is a Baron for the Worms.
And that's going to be really nice for that 1-3-1 setup that they like to play. You know, it's just a matter of, hey, can Seven and Calico stay safe through some potent Nautilus Nefiri engages? Soul's going to hover around the area to try to ensure that is the case. But you can see him setting it up now. Marth going towards the bottom lane, Cole going towards the top lane. Fury does disconnect, so maybe a pause coming in soon. Hopefully just a quick little thing. Okay, yeah. And they're looking on a Druzy, but expect them to establish these wave states, kind of walk it in. With the 1-3-1, you know, it's tough to match the Syndra and the Zehen. They're looking for a 1v2 play, but Souls is coming up as action breaks out.
Coldmeek knows his team is nearby. He's stepping up, threatening the engage. Marth on this bottom turret, slowly dealing damage to this tower, but he's overstayed because Druzy and Minus are here. They have the Nautilus ult coming in. That'll be a pick for Minus. Pressure on both mid and top turrets, though, on the rest of the map. Martha down. They have an opportunity here, perhaps, to find something.
Great play out of Lux.
Are so tough to get through. Minus and Druzy back on the map. The health bar is looking a little rough for Worms, but Druzy goes in on the Hex Gate, and he might just die for it. The MF ult comes in, and holy balls! That's a triple kill. Oh, quadra kill for the Misfortune as he gets that uninterrupted bullet time.
What the hell?
And I think they're going to try to end here. They have so much time. Baikel, the only one left standing.
Yeah, 30 on coins, 35 on the Anivia. The Worms are wiggling towards a Game 4 victory.
This would be the third game, one for them, closing out the series. And there is absolutely nothing Baikel can do to stop it. The unstoppable force is used, the tower goes down. Now it's just the Nexus left. And that's 3-1 for Worms. That was a really close series. But I mean, I think that's an upset. That's an upset for me for sure.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I mean, going into this, Worms were the underdogs, I think, for most of the people in chat watching here. And I think a big part of that was especially the top lane matchup. I mean, that was really flipped on its head in terms of what we expected. You know, bot lane, Coins and Druzy, it really put on a show through all the laning phases. But it was the solo laners, Meek and Marth, especially Meek, just making stuff happen in lane every single game. You know, both sides of counter pick and blind matchups really dominating against Baikel, who tends to be a bit more stable. And then Souls, I feel like, shouting out him, just a stable presence through all of those games. Keeping himself alive, being a lot of the initial engage behind those plays. It was very well played as Worms close out the series. And yes, close out the upset.
I'm looking for an interview now.
Yeah. See who wants it, huh?
They said, "Come to our chat, talk to us all." um. Okay. Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
All right. I'll make my way
Jump
over.
in.
Did it.
Don't do that.
Oh, they joined. Crazy.
Hello.
What's up?
Yo, yo.
Hello, hello.
What a series, guys. I mean, like, your form weakened out a bit towards the end of the regular season, and you came back strong for this playoffs match. I was really surprised. Cole,
Third question in there.
I think I think you were the MVP of this series, in my opinion. You were dominant in every single lane, almost, unless was there one maybe that was losing. But I think you were the star here.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty comfortable just about every game. It sucks. I wanted to play in Bessa, but they didn't want to let me.
Yeah, we never get Mbessa, fortunately.
How did your
But,
prep
yeah,
look
those are
like
some
as a
solid
team?
games. Did we?
Wait, say that again.
Did we prep, guys?
Our prep.
Oh,
We did like some. We do like some drafts, theories in here and there, and we
There was a lot more
usually we do it towards
draft
the end.
prepping than
Yeah.
actual practice games this week, just the way things lined up. But the draft was very well thought out. Like, we were following a plan on the draft.
Yeah, I mean, you guys seemed prepared for the most part for what Lux brought to the table. You didn't let them play to their win conditions in a lot of those games. Closed it out 3-1. Nexus, do you have any questions?
No, I mean, interviews are supposed to instigate a little bit, so I'll go back to Cole. We see in the middle of the series, CLT dropped into our chat, dropped the All-Stars. I don't know if you guys got the chance to read the pings. So first for Cole, any thoughts on your matchup against the third team top laner in Baikel? And, you know, maybe a little bit of smack talk, a little bit of trash on if you should be in that top 3 spot.
I mean, if I played more games, I probably would be, but I've missed a lot of series, so it makes sense as to why I wouldn't be in, right?
That's fair enough. Yeah, stay humble, stay humble. Best ability is availability. But yeah, for the rest of the Worm squad, I think Bird touched on it a lot, but it really felt like draft prep was a huge thing for you guys this game. I think not just draft, but actually playing to comp strengths. So hats off to you guys for that. I feel like shutting down Coins, who's very dominant ADC throughout the season, was very impressive out of 7 in Calico. And then the solo laners, especially Souls, with your first best of 5 win on jungle according to CLT. Congrats.
Only best of 5 jungle
to everyone.
Jungle.
Yeah, 100% win rate in best of 5s as jungle.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. So looking ahead towards the next matchup, don't know if it's yet established. Is it going to be TFG?
Is it Misfits? I thought we were playing.
Or Misfits?
Oh, I haven't actually
It'll
looked.
be it'll be Misfits.
Misfits.
I'm excited.
Okay.
I love playing Misfits. I like Walford as a player. He's a great player. When I played against him last season, he was top. He was a great player. I just like playing him, so I'm looking forward to playing against him and the rest of his team.
Who's that Misfit spotlight?
Lolcats.
Lolcats. Yeah.
Lolcats and
That's
Skizzy.
good.
Oh, okay. That's fine.
Okay.
The smack talk.
I mean, no, like, people just want to play hook champs into me, and I don't get it. I will beat a hook champ every day of the week. Please bring them. I love hook champs. I get so excited when I see Nautilus, when I see Pike, when I see Blitzcrank. They are so easy, so one-dimensional champions. Honestly,
go.
Drew's the MVP of last game. Fucking one-dimensional Nautilus.
Yeah,
my.
there it is. Skizzy. The gauntlet has been thrown as well. Calico's
mean,
ready for the hook champs.
There's a reason
And
why the
the
banned
draft prep's
Zillion.
there.
They can't play a hook champ at all if they don't ban Zillion.
Yeah.
True that.
It was some fun games to watch. I mean, lanes were pretty explosive. I think the hook champs did their thing in lane, but you guys definitely got the better on it once you scaled into the mid to late game. Anybody else have any thoughts they want to share? I haven't yet heard from the man in the mid lane, Marth. Any thoughts on the upcoming Misfits matchup?
Is he
Oh,
here?
he's muted.
Oh, he's muted.
I don't know that he's here. Oh, but
Doing the
yeah,
whole
they
team
should.
interview. Wanted to
They
give
should.
everyone a chance to speak for sure.
They should ban Morgana instead of the Zillion.
Yeah.
0023.
That
Yeah,
would be
that
solid.
Morgana was one of the only useful R5s I saw through the entire series.
I heard someone hating on it.
No,
I
I
heard
think that
someone
was
say it was
super
an
good.
awful pick.
I was gonna say, was it CLT?
It might have been CLT. Said it was
CLT
awful.
is a notorious hater.
Great game,
Yeah, that was-
Drewski. It was a good game, Drewski. I had fun.
No, it was a really good game. You had some great plays, especially and at game 2, I could not move at all. Maokai's a hard counter to Rakan, and you played it well.
Yeah.
In fact, I think we played that when we played you in regular season. I think it was flipped. I think I played the Maokai into the Rakan, so it was interesting to see the other side of it.
Well, that's
Bird,
all I
any more
have.
questions?
No, that's
None
it.
from me.
Congratulations,
Congrats
guys.
again on the win.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for the cast.
For sure.
Yeah, very
it
much
could have
so.
gone
Thank
pretty
you.
late. Hopefully, thank God it didn't. So.
Yep.
Especially on the Sunday.
All right, good games,
All right,
guys.
I'm so
problem.
early.
We'll see you later.
Close us out, Bird.
See ya. Bye.
GG, guys.
GG's.
And I've been chillin', watching the ocean with you. Baby, up with a slow motion crew. And we up in our growlings when people change, but not us.